family. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Mourners will be arriving throughout the day to pay respect to the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. Mthethwa, who is also former Minister of Police and Arts and Culture, was a senior ANC member at the time of his passing. Party leaders in his home province are also set to visit his family homestead here in KwaMbonambi in northern KZN. Deputy Coordinator of Musadlala Region, Piwe Mhlongo.
I'm briefed that the SGO as well is going to send something to be the anchor in everything that we are going to be doing. But we are saddened with the passing of our pioneer, or one of our pioneers.
Meanwhile, the family says it's still awaiting feedback from France in order to start planning for his burial. And Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, KwaMbonambi.
EFF leader Julius Malema is looking to beef up his legal team as he prepares to appeal his conviction on charges related to using a gun in public. The East London Magistrates Court yesterday found Malema guilty of breaching some gun laws. The case stems from a 2018 rally in Dantsane where he fired shots into the air in close proximity to thousands of people. While the state argued that he recklessly endangered lives and property, Malema maintained that the weapon was a toy gun. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
The East London Magistrates Court found that EFF leader Julius Malema harmed his own case by evading questions during the trial. The court also ruled that some of the defense witnesses did him no favors, saying they were argumentative rather than responsive. Malema has rejected the judgment and says he's beefing up his legal team to launch an appeal.
We are going to reinforce that legal team. We'll bring Advocate Mudau as we go into the appeal and strengthen our case, because it is now beyond all of us, and you need lawyers who are not scared of the system.
He's set to return to court on the 23rd of January next year for pre-sentencing procedures. Malema will be barred from serving as a member of parliament for 5 years if he's sentenced to more than 12 months without the option of a fine. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, East London.
The state's case in the Palapala burglary trial has suffered setbacks after two of its witnesses retracted their police statements. Yesterday, Emanuela David appeared alongside siblings Foliana and Ndilinasho Joseph at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. The trio is accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm in 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Goba was in court.
One of the state's witnesses that appeared in court yesterday is a man who allegedly unknowingly transported the robbers from Limpopo to Gauteng. The driver initially gave a police statement that he was paid $30,000 in cash. However, he changed his tune in court and said he was only paid 7,000 rand. Another state witness, an old friend of the three accused, told the court through an interpreter he doesn't know anything about the statement he gave to police back in February 2020.
The only thing that what I want to tell the court, I'm illiterate, I don't know how to read and I don't know how to write. Those people, they came with a statement and they just gave me to sign it.
State prosecutor Nkete Munyai invoked Section 190 of the Criminal Procedure Act, declaring both of his witnesses as hostile. The trial resumes on Friday. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
And the Israeli Navy has intercepted boats carrying aid to Gaza and detained the activists on board, including climate activist Greta Thunberg. Israel's foreign ministry says several vessels that form part of the global Sumud flotilla were safely stopped and that those on board were being transferred to an Israeli port. The activists say the interception is illegal and not an act of defense, but a brazen act of desperation. Israel says the flotilla was violating a lawful naval blockade that covers the waters next to Gaza, though it is unclear if the boats had entered the blockade zone. The activists want to deliver aid in Gaza, where a UN-backed group confirmed that there is a famine due to Israel's systemic obstruction of aid entering the territory. South African citizen on board the vessel, Dr. Zahira Sumar, says they will see the journey through to its conclusion.
We are committed to continuing on this journey, and we are committed to completing our mission, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 days we will achieve and be successful in our mission.
Gold is trading at $3,867.24 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.19 to the pound, 20.19 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.35 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the Marquand North already. This is between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange while travelling in Rand Park Ridge. Do expect delays at the N1 and Bears Nodia Drive due to faulty traffic lights.
And in your sport, Kaizer Chiefs held to a draw by Amazulu, while last night was a night of late goals in the UEFA Champions League, and defending champs Australia start the Women's World Cup with an impressive win.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg starting at 13 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 14 and 27 as well. For the Inaging 12 and 28. The top story in EW and the Sawa. ANC leaders in KwaZulu-Natal are today expected to visit the home of South Africa's late ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 7 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. It is a Thursday. It's the 2nd of October. The year of our Lord, 2025. My name is Bongani Bingwa. It's my great pleasure to have you listening to the show wherever you are around the world, around Gauteng, around the continent. Welcome one, welcome all. I'm not alone, of course. As always, I've got colleagues with me. Ray White here this morning for business news and so much more.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to be with you.
It's nice to be here. Amoramila, good morning to you too.
A very good morning, Bongani, with your new look.
All right, let's deal.
Okay, had to say it.
Let's deal with the elephant in the room.
Yeah, come now.
I woke up with a swollen top lip. I mean, it's as big as... It looks like I have a bee sting or some horrible insect sting. I obviously don't know what it is because I only found out that I look like this at 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right, let's answer some questions. Is it sore?
It's a little uncomfortable.
It's a little uncomfortable,
yeah. But it's not sore. And clearly I'm able to speak and I'm otherwise in tip-top conditions. Of course, I'll go see a doctor after the show.
Yeah.
But it must go on.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. So I've invited everyone who cares to take all the memes you want. It will go down. I don't think my confidence comes from what my lips look like, right? It's a temporary thing. So I've come to work. What would stop you from going to work, Ray?
Losing my voice. I think that's the only thing.
Yep.
And that's it. That's it.
Generally, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. On the show today, we're speaking to the Institute for Security Studies. They're going to be talking to us about moves to improve border security between Eswatini and South Africa, because the focus is always on Zimbabwe or Mozambique. But there are a lot of people who come not only from Eswatini, just by the way, but from elsewhere in the world who then enter our borders through Eswatini. And that is not something that is well managed. So we'll speak to the Institute for Security Studies about that. A big interview. We promised you yesterday that we really had been trying to get him on the phone and to get him to come and explain to us why he has withdrawn as the chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. I'm pleased as punch to tell you that Advocate Mudau, Senior Counsel, will be joining us in studio to help us understand his decision to step down from the commission. He's actually agreed to come in, which might also explain why, lip or no lip, I was going to come. I was going to come and give him some lip.
You're such a trooper.
I'll give you lip. Oh, gosh. So that's what's on the menu today. And, of course, a number of developing stories yesterday. I mean, it was just... You ever have one of those days where you just think, my gosh, I can't keep up with the news cycle today? And yesterday felt to me very much like one of those days. There was so much going on. No doubt the big story has to be Julius Malema. Remember, we spoke to you about Magistrate Toinette Olivier and her struggle to provide or deliver the judgment in the firearm case against Julius Malema. Well, the wait is over because yesterday she made her ruling. Right, she made her ruling on Julius Malema, and he now faces the prospect of losing You might even go so far as to say his political career. Because if he is sentenced to more than 12 months in prison without the option of a fine, as you heard in Eyewitness News, he would then no longer be eligible to serve as a member of parliament until 5 years after completing that sentence. How would his political career survive? There are other considerations, of course. You could argue this is a first-time offense. They usually look for remorse in the accused when it comes to something like this. Julius Malema, as ever, unrepentant yesterday. But have a listen to Magistrate Toinette Olivier delivering her judgment in that firearm case against Malema and his bodyguard, Adrian Snyman.
The concession, like any other viva voce evidence, must be weighed by the court in the light of the totality of the evidence before it and the probabilities revealed thereby. This matter also requires the assessment of corroboration by court. The leading case law, in my view, still remains State v. Gentle, 2005, 1 SACR 420 SCA decision at 430. It must be emphasized that by corroboration, it refers to other evidence which supports the evidence of the complainant and which renders the evidence of the accused person less probable on the issues in dispute. What is required is credible evidence which renders the state's version more likely and the accused version less likely.
So she didn't believe his answers. She said what the state said was more believable, because you remember he gave those cheeky answers where he said he doesn't know. It's the Holy Spirit that must have done it. He doesn't know how guns work because he only, he's only got woodwork, he said. He would give those types of answers. And the magistrate yesterday stating that the approach was clear. If the prosecution has proved their case beyond reasonable doubt, the accused is guilty.
In State v. Van Aswegen, 2001, 2 SACR 92 SCA decision 101 D2E, the following approach was cited and adopted in State v. Van der Meijden, 1999, 1 SACR 447 at W, close bracket. The proper test is that an accused is bound to be convicted if the evidence establishes his guilt beyond reasonable doubt, and the logical corollary is that he must be acquitted if it is reasonably possible that he might be innocent. The process of reasoning which is appropriate to the application of that test in any particular case will depend on the nature of the evidence which the court has before it.
Well, Julius Malema was having none of it, right? And he said to his supporters outside the court yesterday, he is prepared to go all the way to the Constitutional Court to fight this.
So, comrades, you must not be deterred. We live here highly determined. We are going to fight this up until the Constitutional Court. We are coming on the 23rd of January for sentencing. And after sentencing, we will immediately put an appeal so that we can go to the higher court because we think a judgment is faulty. The strategy has always been you must try to charge Malema with everything.
He says they were going after him. He welcomes that his former bodyguard was found not guilty, but he says that was always just a game. It was a pretext. The real target was him. And they've succeeded, whereas perhaps they were subtle before. He says this time they have succeeded. So what brought all of this on? I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the video, but it was this moment from 2018 for which Malema was charged. That's the video that went viral, and that when he was asked about, Malema said, oh no, that was just a toy gun. And you can't prove that that sound comes from the gun that I was carrying. It could have been somebody else in the crowd, and the court having none of it. So one of the considerations would certainly be, was he remorseful? Is he repentant? Is he sorry he did this? And as you will hear in this clip, Malema continues to be defiant as ever.
Shoot to kill! Yamaza! Shoot to kill! Kill him!
We obviously can't play the rest of that song. I'd prefer not to encourage anybody to kill someone, whoever and whatever they look like. He's still singing that Kill the Boer song. So he was defiant yesterday in court. And I suppose the question we must ask this morning is this the beginning of the end? I think one of the papers frames it exactly like that this morning. For Julius Malema, is his political career over? How many times has he been written off only to bounce back? He no longer has people like Floyd Shivambu around him. He no longer has people like Dr. Ndlozi around him. Does this then mean his career is over, or has he been able to regroup? Is the EFF a stronger party without all those strong personalities, with one man who is the face and voice of it, Julius Malema? He's obviously styling himself as a revolutionary, and this is part of what revolutionaries must experience at some point, go to jail for their beliefs. Do you think this is just desserts? There are even conspiracy theories that will suggest that part of that White House Oval Office confrontation was around him specifically, because Trump asked President Ramaphosa, why don't you arrest this man? Is this now the proof that they will have to say, look, you see, we dealt with him, now go ease up on us? Is that democracy?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
17 after 6. Here's a question. How much do you welcome medical advances as far as technology is concerned? Do you say open season, whatever they can do to improve lives, make life better, you welcome it? Or are there, and I'm not going to use the word ethical because I think that's quite clear, are there things that morally might offend you? They don't hurt anyone. No one is going to be damaged as a result of it. But you worry that morally, from your point of view, that might be going too far. I'll give you an example. There was a debate not too long ago about designer babies, and that advances in genetics are going to get to the point where you will be able to, and it may well be that that's possible already. I'm not sure. I don't know. These are not my, it's not my area of expertise. But you could, for example, design the height, the gender, or the sex of your baby, the color of their eyes, the color of their hair, their intelligence, their ability to be athletic, for example. So these super babies, was a conversation not too long ago that genetics are going to get to the point where they can design super babies. Some people might say morally that's a concern, perhaps even ethically. Are there medical advances that you think are going too far? When they had the first test tube babies, there was a lot of moral outrage. It's now become commonplace, unless, of course, you live in America, because they're now trying to reverse some of those advances. But a test tube baby is no longer a thing. Artificial insemination is no longer a thing. It's no longer a moral issue. Are there advances that you think, ooh, I don't know about this one? Or do you say, welcome one, welcome all, as long as nobody's being hurt? Ray?
I think you need to be careful. Don't play God, because when you do that, things can go totally wrong. That's my take. Be careful.
Amo?
I mean, if it's to advance human life to make life better for other people, I think yes. But one that would really upset me is if they were to pass human cloning. That would really offend me.
Why?
Because why would we want to clone Bongani?
Why wouldn't you?
You had to go
Hope
there.
the clone has better lips, eh? Hope the clone has better lips. We'll explain why we're asking that question coming up.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
One of the other big stories, of course, we are going to be paying some attention to is no doubt the appearance of the former Mpumalanga Premier and Deputy Minister Thabang Makwetla, charged over benefits he allegedly received from Busiswa. And it's an extraordinary development because, as we know, there were many others who were fingered in the Zondo Commission, the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, including one Gwede Mandashe, who had security upgrades installed at his house at the cost of Busiswa, 650,000 rand, I think it was. And Mandashe never denied that he had received those benefits. His argument was that he didn't know that Bosasa was footing the bill, and he tried to explain it as a family, traditional, relationship, benefit type of arrangement, which was not convincing to the Zonda Commission. And so one of the questions that will necessarily be asked is, if Thabang Makwetla could be charged, why are others like Gwede Mandashe, like Nomvula Mokonyane, the Braai Packs and the Whiskies, right? Why are only a few people charged, or are there more charges to come?
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Ray White, you've got a question of your own?
I do indeed. Now, when I was growing up, everybody wanted to have that car. You had to have that shirt. You had to have your marker of success. Today, how have your markers of success changed? I mean, you had a Wabenzi. If my dad had a Mercedes-Benz, I was the guy. If he had a Beamer, he had a da-da-da-da. If I had the best clothing, I would be the guy. But how have your markers of success changed?
Sure. I think the idea of being a millionaire.
Yeah.
Right? I think when I was a kid, when we were told somebody's a millionaire. Right? And now $1 million in the bank just doesn't feel like it's all that much.
Yeah.
Right? And besides, millionaires don't tend to have $1 million rand in their bank account anyway. Right?
It's true.
But yeah, I would certainly say that was one. Amo?
Definitely that, Bongani, as well as BMW. People driving BMWs were for a very long time seen as very successful.
The guys, the
girls.
Yeah,
they've made it. But now, anybody can own a BMW.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Do you still want that car?
I mean, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But, an X6, I'd feel like I've arrived if I was.
There's a 1 Series.
If I was in an X6, I can still see it. Yeah, no, the BMW hasn't gone away.
Okay, it's still sitting there.
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right. I'll be asking or answering that in about 10 minutes from now.
702.
Weather.
23 after 6, a fine day in store for Gauteng. Temperatures will max at 27 in both Joburg and Pretoria. 28 is your high in Vereeniging. Durban maxes at 21 degrees. Gqeberha in East London 19. Cape Town peaks at 18.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, prepared to perform whatever the terrain. Amo?
Bongani, we already have delays on the N3 North approaching the Baklu interchange. This is due to the roadworks that are taking place along the route. Delays coming out of Marlborough Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the Mark 1 North between Boysons Road and Carr Street while travelling on the N12 East in Eldorado Park. Some delays there between Klipspruit Valley Road and the Golden Highway. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. And if you see anything else on the roads, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
Would you like to come to the 702 launch of Mandy Wiener's new book? Midday Report host Mandy Wiener has written a book about the negotiations that took place between political parties after last year's election, and it led to the formation of what we're calling the Government of National Unity. Her new book is called The Deal. Clement Manyatela will be interviewing Mandy about her latest book on his show on Wednesday, the 8th of October at 10 a.m. Would you like to be there? Part of the studio audience? Come visit 702 and watch Clement interviewing Mandy about her fascinating new book. If you want to come along, email us contact@702.co.za. So that's contact@702.co.za to be part of the studio audience for Clement's Mandy Wiener book launch interview next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. 702. Let's walk the talk.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Hey, good morning, Bongs and the listeners. Behaviors like this of Malema are the reasons why criminals think they rule the country. You cannot be charged of something that was wrong and then you turn it and politicize it just because you wanted to suit your behavior in the society. As a leader, you must show those qualities and never lead your people to do things that they can think they'll walk away with tomorrow. Malema is wrong, and I wish they find him guilty and send him for a sentence of few years just to go and serve. I wish that happens. Anonymous.
Good morning, Bongani. This incident will never political career down. Instead, it will boost him a great deal. He is now perceived as a person whom the system is against. He's already talked about a racist card against him. And his followers will perceive him as a revolutionary who stood for what he believed in.
I mean, he will play the victim card. He learned from the best, right? He'll go to the Zuma playbook and say, look at what they're doing to me. They're trying to prevent me from ever acquiring power. But you've got to ask, with the EFF's message not really landing and resonating with many voters, what future does this man have in politics?
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, what you need to know at this hour, 2 former Gauteng Department of Education employees and an accomplice are set to be sentenced today and tomorrow at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court for defrauding the department of about 3.8 million rand through a ghost employee scheme. The scam, uncovered in an internal investigation, involved 7 officials from the Gauteng West District's Office HR unit. So essentially, they were making sure people who didn't exist were earning salaries. Crime Intelligence Head Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo is receiving medical care after feeling unwell yesterday, and it has brought the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to a halt. A new date set to be announced for proceedings in due course. In India, the courts are reminding doctors that handwriting still matters a lot. So a court recently said legible prescriptions are a fundamental right because poor handwriting can be a matter of life and death. It's a ruling that came after a judge there struggled to read a medico-legal report and the prescription in a case related to handwriting. Can you read your doctor's handwriting? And if you are a doctor, please explain to us. Is it just like is it a performance thing? Like, are you guys just performing?
But you know what I've realized in recent days? That younger doctors write neater than older doctors.
Why do older doctors write badly? Is it a performance?
Must
Adam
be.
Gilchrist will have that story in the Worldview. How good is your handwriting?
Terrible, shocking.
Really? Are you a doctor?
Should be.
I'm clearly not a doctor because my handwriting is really good.
Yes, my penmanship, as we used to call it in the old days, is rather fantastic. Thank you very much. Yesterday, the Jane Goodall Institute announcing the death of Dr. Jane Goodall at the ripe old age of 91. A world-renowned primatologist passed away of natural causes in California. Listen to this. Scientists in Portland, Oregon in the US have made a big step in fertility research. So now they can do something that doctors have not been able to do before. They can turn ordinary skin cells into embryos, into human eggs that can be fertilized. And it's something that they say could help, for example, those women whose eggs are not viable, or even older women who may choose to still have a baby. It'll certainly do wonders for same-sex couples who can now have a child that's genetically related to both parents as the parents. And it's quite a breakthrough. Right now, only a few of the eggs grew into early embryos, and all were genetically abnormal. So it's not quite ready for use yet, but they're saying they're making breakthroughs. And that's why I was asking the question earlier, are there developments technologically when it comes to medicine in particular that you go, ooh, okay. Would you welcome that, or would you say nay?
702.
The newspapers.
Sfiso Zulu,
Good
a
morning.
welcome return.
Thank you.
Fully back with us now.
Yes.
Swollen lips or not.
Good to see you, Bongani. Just a quick one. USA Today, as we look at the newspapers on the international front, there's an interesting story about how there's a camp in the US that has been set up to help children deal with their parents passing. So it's the question of how do you help children deal with the death of a parent and that situation situation. And if I may shortly speak from personal experience, I had two sisters who passed away, and at the time of their passing, 3 years apart, their babies were very, very, very young. Amongst both of them, the oldest was probably 14 and the youngest was 2 years old. It's been hard to deal and try to navigate and help them deal with the grief, right? And obviously life goes on. But then I like the idea of a camp where psychologists and all kinds of resources come together and help children deal with grief.
Gosh, I know it's been quite a journey for you, because you now obviously are looking after those kids, aren't you?
Yes. So I think this is actually a great idea.
Thank you, Uncle Sfiso. The front page of The Citizen: jail for Julius could kill EFF, says The Citizen. Wonder if that's what they're hoping. The Sowetan: is this the beginning of the end? Same question about Julius Malema. And the front page of the Business Day: Eskom fleeced of 20 billion rand. And those are the newspapers.
EWN Business.
Ray, you want to know, how have your markers of success changed over the years?
That's right. Well, this is the thing. I mean, driving a Merc or a Beamer used to be the pinnacle of success, but new car figures show that South Africans are changing the way they think. South Africa's domestic new vehicle sales are on track to exceed pre-pandemic levels for the first time in 5 years, and figures show that people are not being brand loyal at all. Domestically, new car vehicle sales in the first 6 months of the year increased by 14% compared to the same period last year, with imports rising 30.2%. So there's cars coming in. Auto industry group NAMSA says this is being driven by consumer demand for affordable cars with many new makes and models. NAMSA's vice president for retailing car manufacturers, Tasum Gaza, says South Africans used to be very badge conscious, getting the top make of vehicles, you see. But he says that with rising costs of living, many consumers don't care about the badge and more are just interested in the value.
So what cars are we buying?
An influx of very affordable models, largely from China, has seen many buy new cars. They have luxury features anyway at a lower cost. Chinese and more recently Indian car brands seem to be the most popular, with options at more affordable ends of the pricing spectrum. And AMSA says these cost-effective cars have luxury features anyway. So there you go.
All right, where's the rand anyway?
Well, the rand now is a little bit better than yesterday. 17.21, the pound at 23.20, a euro 20.20, platinum $1,564.35, Brent crude oil $65.69, gold $3,869.25. More business news for you in about an hour.
Time now for your latest Eyewitness News. Let's go straight to the news desk. Good morning again, Sfiso Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Gauteng traffic authorities have confirmed that 3 people who died in a crash in Pretoria were all occupants of a light motor vehicle. It's understood that the car collided with a minibus taxi on the R101 last night, causing massive delays. Spokesperson Obed Sibasa says the road has since been reopened after a cleanup operation.
Gauteng Traffic Police and other authorities dealt with a fatal vehicle crash last night on the R101 near Valmarsdal, Sinoville, Tshwane. That involved 2 vehicles. 3 occupants of a light motor vehicle, Fiesta, died at the scene. Several from Quantum suffered serious to moderate injuries and were transported to various medical facilities.
Sintako in the Western Cape says the only way to resolve the impasse between the Cape's 2 biggest taxi associations is to resume peace talks. Taxi organizations Qatar and Codeta are at loggerheads over routes. A 30-day closure of those routes by the Provincial Mobility Department is in its 16th day to prevent any related killings. Codeta has approached the court hoping it'll reverse the decision. But Santako's Mantla Hermanus says the court will not settle the organization's differences.
We want to allow that process to run its course, and whatever outcome they might get at court, it will not negate the need for the 2 associations to actually sit around the table, because that's the only way we'll be able to resolve this. Courts will not solve.
EFF leader Julius Malema says being arrested is a badge of honor for revolutionaries. The East London Magistrates Court yesterday found Malema guilty of discharging a firearm in public. The case relates to a 2018 rally in Danzane where he fired shots into the air in close proximity to thousands of supporters. The court ruled that Malema's actions directly endangered many lives. Alfred Mushwana reports.
While EFF leader Julius Malema insists he's unfazed by his conviction, he says he will appeal the court's ruling.
We are not fighting the case, we are fighting racism, pure racism that we have been subjected to for 7 years. Mediocrity of the highest order.
With Malema set to return to court for sentencing in January next year, he maintains that being arrested is not as bad as it may seem.
As a revolutionary, going to prison or death is a badge of honor. We cannot be scared of prison. We cannot be scared to die for the revolution.
The Criminal Law Amendment Act states that if a person is found guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm, the minimum sentence can be 15 years imprisonment. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, East London.
And rescue teams in Indonesia are still searching for 59 people under a collapsed school building. The multi-story structure caved in on students who were attending an afternoon prayer session on Monday. A 13-year-old boy was killed and 99 others were injured and taken to hospital in critical condition. Rescue teams say 59 people are still trapped as of last night. Investigations into the cause of the collapse are still underway, but initial signs point to substandard construction. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 12 and 14 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 28.
And in the traffic in Denver, there's been an accident on the M2 East. It happened after Silver Street. It's causing delays, while peak time delays are reported on the Mike North between Boysons Road and Carr Street.
The top story this hour, Gauteng traffic authorities have confirmed that 3 people who died in a crash in Pretoria were all occupants of a light motor vehicle.
702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Kempton Park. Kempton Park was established in 1903 when Carl Friedrich Wolff subdivided a portion of his Zierfontein farm into residential stands and named it after the German town of his birth. Apart from suburbs, Kempton Park is also the home of many chemical and manufacturing industries, the Calvin Power Station and OR Tambo International, Africa's busiest airport. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Kempton Park.
It is said that listening to Mozart could boost intelligence. So we at RMB bought this extended radio spot to give you 30 seconds of Mozart just to get some thinking done. That was nice, huh? Just some time to think. Well, that is precisely what we do at RMB. Invest in the time to think of smarter solutions for our clients. RMB. Solutionists love company. RMB is a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Experience extraordinary with the new iPhone 17, 256 gig from Vodacom, Zanzi's winning 5G network. More delightful, more durable, and now available. Get yours on a 3 gig red core plan from $899 per month over 36 months, plus a free extended warranty. Be the first to get it today. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and the team. Listen, when they were saying Zuma must go to jail, they were happy, jumping up and down, saying he must go to jail. Then the old man went and stayed for a couple of months. Let him go to jail as well and stay there. Maybe he'll also get out of with medical parole. That's South Africa for you. I wouldn't be surprised.
Good morning, Bongan and listeners of 702. Just want to comment my 2 cents on the issue of Malema. Yeah, they found guilty for doing that, but she find this Neymar and the former bodyguard not guilty. But how? Because when it comes to act of guns, we're not allowed to give someone a gun like that. The law doesn't allow you to do so, but she find him not guilty. That's why people are saying she was biased. She was so biased. Maybe it was right, Malema was right, saying that no, this thing was made for him. But the laws don't allow us to just give willy-nilly guns like that. And you be found not guilty. No, man.
Hi, Bongani, it's Ginger here. I have one question about the Julius Malema verdict. The fact that he was found guilty means his bail was revoked immediately. Why wasn't he kept in custody? Because a new bail application should have been made for him to come out. Thank you.
Morning. I think Malema is bringing his party down. What Malema wants is what Malema gets. He doesn't think about the people around him. It's Limo.
Limo, look, there's a lot of questions to be answered here, and I'm no legal expert, and I'm certainly no gun expert, and maybe one of the things we ought to do is get the perspective of those people. But Malema making quite a point about the fact that he was found guilty and not his bodyguard, and bringing race into the issue. They were obviously facing separate charges, but is there a link to using a weapon and discharging it in the way that he was accused of doing? And can the person then who handed you said weapon be guilty of an offense? Those are the things I think that still need to be clarified. Bail, of course, is about, and again, I'm not a legal expert, but bail, as far as I understand it, is about securing the accused person to come and answer to charges. Having been found guilty, he has already done that. So the question of sentencing will remain, but unless I think you think he's a flight risk, I'm not sure why his bail conditions should necessarily be revoked, particularly, of course, if he's been found of an offense where he doesn't present a threat to society immediately.
EWN Sport.
So we've just done an exercise passing each other pieces of paper between Amo, Anthony Teixeira, and myself. I think I've got the best handwriting.
I would put you second.
Amo first.
Yeah, I think Amo's is very nice.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. But it's very close. It's very close.
Very close.
I'm a distant third.
So why is your handwriting barely legible?
I don't know. I suppose I really don't know. I don't even lie. It's just something that I've always struggled with when it comes to handwriting.
So I wrote, especially when I was younger, I wrote a lot of exams that required essay writing. And one of the things I knew was that at the very least, even if my argument was horrible, at least let them know what I was saying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It never stopped me because I wrote a lot of essays as well. It didn't stop me from not being able to write anything that anybody can read.
I want to know why doctors have such bad handwriting. If you're a doctor, right, if you're a GP, please let us know why are most, and I don't give me that, we usually did because we're in a hurry. When you're in private practice and I'm coming to your rooms, you take all the time. I mean, I can't tell you how much I laugh with my GP, right? And we talk about, they're not always in a hurry, is the point I'm making, right? We'll talk current affairs, we'll talk everything. They're not always in a hurry, our doctors. So don't give me that as an excuse as to why your handwriting is so bad. All right, let's talk about the Betway Premiership. Anthony, did Chiefs do the things?
They did a lot of things, except scoring goals was a bit of a struggle, to be honest. Despite only facing 3 shots across the entire match and having 23 shots at goal themselves, Kaizer Chiefs could only salvage a 1-1 draw with AmaZulu. Assistant coach Khalil Ben Yusuf spoke about the issues they have in front of goal and the wasted penalty.
Congratulations for the players. I think they make a very good performance. We are coming from 2 strong weeks. We played every 2 days game. We discussed after the CAF game about the importance of this game. We have the same problem now in the last third. Every game we dominate the game. We create a lot of opportunity. Even penalty, we missed penalty today also. Even when we score, we touch the ball, it was offside.
That point, though, was enough to see them move fifth on the log. It was a night for late dramatic goals in the UEFA Champions League. Man City were dragged to a 2-2 draw by Monaco with the 90th minute Eric Dyer penalty. PSG came from a goal down with a strike from Khamouj, scoring the winner in the final minutes as they ended 2-1 at Barcelona. And Bukayo Saka came off the bench to give Arsenal some breathing room in the closing minutes of a 2-0 victory against Olympiacos. Here's Mikel Arteta.
Well, very happy. Obviously, winning the Champions League is always very complicated. Keeping another clean sheet, we make I think 11 in 14 games, which is remarkable from the boys. I think we started the game really well. I think we looked a real threat, really dynamic, really playing forwards, a lot of run, a lot of threats. At the end, again, missed 2 big chances, but at the end, find a way with Bukayo to score a goal.
Elsewhere, there was a 4-0 win for Newcastle against Belgian side Union Saint-Gaulois, while there were draws between Villarreal and Juventus, as well as Bayer Leverkusen and PSV, wins for Napoli and Borussia Dortmund elsewhere. In cricket, the Australian women came through with an early marker at the Women's World Cup. A century from Ashley Gardner saw them post 326 against New Zealand. The bowlers then backed that up with their own huge display as Molyneux and Sutherland each claimed 3 wickets as they bowled the Black Ferns out for 237 in their opener with an 89-run victory, while the Australian men also beat the New Zealand men by 6 wickets in their first T20 of their series. And in cycling, world's time trial champions Remco Evenepoel and Marlene Russa doubled up by winning the European titles. These victories came less than 48 hours after arriving in France from Rwanda. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
On 702.
Hello, Uncle Bongani. My name is Vian. I'm in law school, Finland, and I want to be a drag racer one day. And I would love to go to do the Whiz Quiz today with you. I'm so excited.
We want to play the Whiz Quiz with you too. We haven't given away this money. I'm itching. My lips are swollen. That's why.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
13 minutes to 7 o'clock. This Eyewitness News Traffic brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. That crash in Denver. Amo?
It's causing heavy delays. Bongani approaching, coming out of Silver Street. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. While traveling in Eldorado Park, we've got bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 East. This is between Klipspruit Valley Road and the Golden Highway. Peak time delays there. There's also heavy traffic volumes along the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange. That's due to long-term roadworks taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. More updates coming up.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 65-year-old Helena, who now pays an incredibly low 398 Rand a month for her 2025 Hyundai Extra. With Outsurance, you get the legendary Out Bonus that pays you a percentage of your premiums back if you're claim-free. SMS out to 45142. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008. At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. So you send us an answer based on something you heard in the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then later, someone else will ask a question to get your answer to win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's play the Whiz Quiz. Today we're playing with 11-year-old Vian, who goes to Laerskool Fairland and wants to be a drag racer later on in life. Vian, are you ready to play?
Yes, sir, I am.
What's your strongest point? Is it the maths questions? Is it the sports questions? Is it the spelling?
I think it's more the learning questions.
It's more the learning questions. Well, Vian, let's find out. KG, start the clock. Spell the word variety.
VARIT. Skip.
ETY, that's what you got wrong there. What's 22 minus 7?
Skip.
15. True or false? Earth Day is celebrated on 22 April every year.
Yes.
True or false?
True.
Correct. What gas do plants breathe in to make their food?
Excuse me?
What gas do plants breathe in to make their food?
Carbon dioxide.
Correct. Which city in South Africa is also known as the City of Gold?
Joburg.
Correct. What part of the human body controls everything we do, the brain or the heart?
The brain.
The brain is correct. You came back rather nicely. You recovered there, Vian. You struggled a little in the beginning, but you came back really, really strongly. You walk away with 400 Rand. 4 correct answers is what you got. Well done and well played.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
All right, 7 to 7, on to this now. We often talk about our porous borders, right? And much of the focus is usually on Zimbabwe, perhaps even Mozambique. Well, Eswatini is also a country that we share a border with. And today, the Border Management Authority is going to be leading a high-level delegation in a crucial session aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation and tightening controls over shared ports of entry. We're joined now, of course, in the context of this discussion by Willem Els, who is this Institute for Security Studies training coordinator, senior training coordinator. Willem's a very good morning to you and welcome to our program.
Good morning, Bongani.
Thank you for joining us. I suppose this has been a timely conversation, particularly in the context of those U.S. deportees, criminal illegal aliens. I think the Trump administration called them to Eswatini. The concern from many people in this country has been they'll soon make their way here.
Indeed, it's a concern, and rightly so. If you look at the challenge that we are faced with our porous borders, not only with Eswatini, but with the rest of the neighboring countries.
As I understand it, of course, there are the formal ports of entry, but there are also fences that are easily breached and often are by people coming in and out of South Africa into Eswatini.
Indeed, Eswatini is like Lesotho and Mozambique, one of our biggest challenges, and we see that we already got this agreement with Lesotho that's been implemented, and also with Mozambique in order to see how we can manage it. And now it is being rolled out between South Africa and Eswatini, and that is the reason for that is your ports of entry. Apart from the challenges that we face there, our porous borders that are actually mostly unpoliced poses a severe challenge.
Are we trying to stop something that is practically not possible to stop? I mean, do these border fences work?
Yeah, I think you touch a very important thing. Migration is a natural phenomenon all over the world, and you're not going to stop it completely. What you can do is, and what you should do is, you should control it. The moment you lose control of that and management of that, then you open yourself up for major challenges.
But that's what I mean. Obviously, people who want to be in either country through the correct processes will obviously follow those, and they'll get their documentation and do so, and Bob's your uncle. But for the many more who do not, for whatever reason, is it really possible to police that?
I think that's a very good question. Your resources and allocation of resources for us to do that is just not there, and that is why I say you can put up hurdles and you have to manage it. You have to try to control it and see how you can actually remain in control. The problem is when you start to let go, and like in the challenge with South Africa, you just lose control because we don't even know how many of these migrants are illegally in South Africa.
We've both used the phrase porous borders, but what can authorities do? What should they do to prevent the entry of people who do not have the correct documentation into our country?
Yeah, we need a more holistic strategy, and I think this plan that is being implemented now is one of the building blocks of such a strategy. Your challenge is that first of all, it needs to be bilateral. So your countries have to work together. You have to look at your resources. We are severely under-resourced when it comes to from a human material perspective to your logistical perspectives. And then another challenge that we have that is really creating mainly to our porosity of our borders is, of course, the human factor there, and that is your corruption that is actually rampant.
Willem, I guess the point I'm trying to get to is, isn't this yet another, high-profile photo op, really, in terms of this high-level delegation to come up with, cooperation strategies in terms of shared points of entry? Because many countries, particularly in the SADC region, rely on the remittances many of their citizens send from being in South Africa, from working in South Africa, even if they're undocumented. So, of course, officially, there'll be an acknowledgement of fixing this problem, dealing with this problem, but it's often not in the interests of those economies, is it?
Yeah, it cuts two ways, and your challenge is in SADC is really concerned about that. That's why we got four major protocols that are being placed in order to facilitate this, because of course, South Africa will always be the source due to our economy and everything else in South Africa and the perceived opportunities that are here. But it is bleeding our economy on the one hand, and also places a major burden on our other resources. And the reason for that is, if you don't know how many people are, some of the estimates say 3 to 5 million, some of the other estimates say about 8 million. And the reason for that we say we don't have control of it is if you can't even put an exact number to the estimated immigrants or illegal immigrants in South Africa, how do you manage it? So that is your big challenge that you have here.
How do we solve it though? That's the question I'm asking. I mean, I'll give you another example, related but somewhat different. Think about the poaching that has happened, say, in the Kruger National Park. Many of the people that participate in that come in and out of South Africa, and they could do so from Eswatini, and they could do so from Mozambique. And even in the Kruger, for something as specific as that, we seem unable to stop it. So everybody says porous borders, porous borders. How do we plug these holes?
Yeah, that's the short question there is that you have to look at your protocols and your agreements and cooperation, and you have to start with the implementation of that. South Africa, we got about 92 different strategies, but none of them are fully implemented. So that is where our biggest challenge is at the moment, as we do not seem to implement these strategies and plans effectively.
All right, Willem Els is an Institute for Security Studies Senior Training Coordinator. And I think it's an interesting conversation to have, because everybody talks about these porous borders and the inability to stop people from coming into South Africa. But what do we do? Because many of the countries with whom we have agreements aren't as serious about preventing their citizens from coming here to begin with.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
He's recently stepped down as the chief evidence leader at the Madlanga Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Why did he walk away from that responsibility? Up next, Advocate Mudau is in studio with us.
This is EWN.
Nathi Mthethwa's family thanks South Africans for their support, and Malema says he's going all out to appeal his conviction. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The family of South African ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, says his remains will be repatriated once all formal processes have been completed. Mthethwa died in Paris, and his body was found at a hotel this week after checking into a room on the 22nd floor. French authorities are investigating the circumstances surrounding his death. Tandoluhle Ngobo reports.
Nathi Mthethwa's family says they have taken solace in the unity and compassion shown by South Africans as they wait for more clarity into his death. They say French authorities have been transparent and unwavering in their ongoing investigations. Yesterday, Chairperson of Parliament's International Relations Committee, Supro Mahumapelo, said Mthethwa's death must be properly investigated to avoid speculation about how he died. Meanwhile, ANC leaders in KwaZulu-Natal are today expected to visit Mthethwa's family in the province. Tandoluhle Ngobo, Eyewitness News.
EFF leader Julius Malema is looking to beef up his legal team as he prepares to appeal his conviction on charges related to using a gun in public. The East London Magistrates Court yesterday found Malema guilty of breaching some gun laws. The case stems from a 2018 rally in Danzane where he fired shots into the air in close proximity to thousands of people. While the state argued that he recklessly endangered lives and property, Malema maintained that the weapon was a toy. Alfara Mushwana reports.
The East London Magistrates Court found that EFF leader Julius Malema harmed his own case by evading questions during the trial. The court also ruled that some of the defense witnesses did him no favors, saying they were argumentative rather than responsive. Malema has rejected the judgment and says he's beefing up his legal team to launch an appeal.
We are going to reinforce that legal team. We'll bring Advocate Mudau as we go into the appeal and strengthen our case, because it is now beyond all of us, and you need lawyers who are not scared of the system.
He's set to return to court on the 23rd of January next year for pre-sentencing procedures. Malema will be barred from serving as a member of parliament for 5 years if he's sentenced to more than 12 months without the option of a fine. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, East London.
The state's case in the Palapala burglary trial has suffered setbacks after two of its witnesses retracted their police statements. Yesterday, Emanuela David appeared along siblings Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. The trio is accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm in 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Goba reports.
One of the state's witnesses that appeared in court yesterday is a man who allegedly unknowingly transported the robbers from Limpopo to Gauteng. The driver initially gave a police statement that he was paid $30,000 in cash. However, he changed his tune in court and said he was only paid 7,000 rand. Another state witness, an old friend of the three accused, told the court through an interpreter he doesn't know anything about the statement he gave to police back in February 2020.
The only thing that what I want to tell the court, I'm illiterate, I don't know how to read and I don't know how to write. Those people, they came with a statement and they just gave me to sign it.
State prosecutor Nketheni Munyai invoked Section 190 of the Criminal Procedure Act, declaring both of his witnesses as hostile. The trial resumes on Friday. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And Speaker of the United Kingdom's House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, has made an impassioned plea for peace to be restored in the Middle East. Hoyle is in South Africa to attend the G20 meeting of parliamentary speakers who are discussing how to harness diplomacy to enhance global solidarity. He's told the gathering that he's in awe of South Africa's most revered statesman, Nelson Mandela, and that his life should inspire the world to return to a democratic order. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Sir Lindsay Hoyle has appealed to G20 nations to ensure the longevity of democracy and a free, peaceful world. He says it's unfathomable that a sovereign nation like Ukraine was invaded by Russia and that troops from North Korea are supporting the war.
What kind of world are we living in? We went through 2 world wars to stop this. Let us not walk into the 3rd World War.
Hoyle has called on G20 governments to do more to end conflict around the world, even those that don't attract international attention.
We must bring peace to the Middle East. We have to give hope for the people of Gaza. We have to make sure the hostages are released as well. We've got to not forget about Sudan, where hundreds of millions of people have been displaced.
Hoyle says world nations must be respectful of one another and their sovereign boundaries. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
Gold is trading at $3,863.52 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.81 a barrel.
In Eldorado Park, we still have got delays on the N12 East between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road. The Golden Highway in itself backed up towards the N1. While travelling on the N3 North, we've got roadworks taking place near the Baklu interchange and they are causing delays. Otherwise, if you're travelling in Sharon Lee, bumper-to-bumper traffic along the Malibongwe Drive towards the N1 exit.
And in your sport, Arsenal and Newcastle win Champions League outings while City gets held, and there was a late dramatic victory for holders PSG and Barcelona. Kaizer Chiefs' winless run in the Betway Premiership extended to 3 outings, and Chloe Tryon says the poor Proteas record against England is meaningless ahead of their World Cup showdown.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 13 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 14 and 27 as well, for Inching 12 and 28. The top story in EWN this hour: the family of South African ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, says his remains will be repatriated once all formal processes have been completed.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Eight minutes after 7 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on the 2nd of October 2025. Porous borders. That's the conversation we just had with Willem Els from the Institute for Security Studies. Everybody and his uncle can point to how undocumented migrants end up in South Africa. There are millions of them. Nobody quite knows what the accurate number is. But not many of us are providing solutions as to how to deal with it. These flimsy fences that are erected on our shared borders, say with Mozambique or Zimbabwe or Eswatini, they don't work. They rip them open and they step over them. And Bob's your uncle. They're in and they're out. And think about the amounts of money many migrants send to their countries of origin. The remittances that their families live on because they seek opportunities in this country. Yes, of course, we sign agreements and the politicians shake their hands and pose for the cameras. But if you for 1 minute think many of these SADC countries are actually that serious about those agreements, think again. So what do we do?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock, some reflections still, of course, about the passing of the former Minister Nathi Mthethwa, the most recent ambassador to France. One of the things we often have to consider when someone passes away, with, of course, the due respect to those who may be mourning them because they were his family members, they were his friends, they were his comrades. But for public figures, I think the standard is a little higher. We have to think about their impact on public life. And one of the questions that will necessarily arise is the mention of Nathi Mthethwa at various commissions for quite some time in South Africa. We've already seen, of course, mention of his name and accusations of political interference by the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who in fact went so far as to say, when he was acting National Commissioner, the pressure brought to bear on him by Nathi Mthethwa was the worst example of political interference he had ever experienced. In 2018, Nathi Mthethwa was mentioned at the State Capture Inquiry, the Zondo Commission. At the Mohoro Commission, his name was mentioned, and it's very likely his name would have come up in the inquiry looking into Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office, because again there he had a role to play. There's a stunning article, by the way, in the Daily Maverick written by Marian Tam looking at the record of Nathi Mthethwa. And I think as we think about what all of this means in the next few days, we have to remember the key role he played, the pivotal role Nathi Mthethwa played in the enabling of the Jacob Zuma enterprise in the state capture years.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
One of the things, of course, I want to bring your attention to is the passing of Dr. Jane Goodall, who is the renowned primatologist who's died at the age of 91. She was in California on a speaking tour. She's world famous, of course, for her work, particularly amongst Africa's great apes. And I want you to have a listen to Dr. Jane Goodall speaking about how chimpanzees make peace after conflict and her reflection on what we as human beings could learn from that.
I think perhaps the most important things we could learn from chimpanzees is they're very good at reconciliation after conflict. We don't seem to be very good at that. We hold grudges, we fight wars, we have conflict all over the world today. Also, the way that the mothers treat their young is exemplary. And the great thing is, give the child support. It could be a mother or a father, but I didn't know my father very well because he was fighting in the war. So if a child feels supported, that makes all the difference.
A Palestinian diaspora organization called Path of Truth has, called Know Thy Heritage, has awarded its Path of Truth award to the international journalist Mehdi Hassan for his dedication to truth and justice and for keeping a spotlight on the suffering of the people of Gaza in the Gaza war. And in accepting that award, the Path of Truth, this is what Mehdi Hassan had to say about the complicity of many people around the world in the genocide in Gaza.
For me, in many ways, as I said, the people most responsible for the catastrophe in Gaza are not the ones loudly and shamelessly supporting it. It's the ones who see it all and stay silent. The ones who see it all and look away. The ones who see it all and pretend it isn't happening. Let me be clear tonight, and I want to say this, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, especially to my colleagues in Western mainstream media. Your silence is complicity. Your both sidesism is complicity. Your euphemisms for genocide and ethnic cleansing is complicity. I founded Zeteo because I wanted to build an independent and defiant media outlet where people aren't afraid to say genocide, aren't afraid to platform Palestinian voices, aren't afraid to call out the brazen double standards between Gaza and Ukraine.
Yesterday, the former Deputy Minister of Correctional Services, Thabang Makwetla, appeared in the Palm Ridge Specialized Commercial Crimes Court facing fraud and corruption charges linked to a 2015 home security upgrade allegedly by Busiswa worth 350,000 rand. But the others, as we know, who received security updates also at the largesse of Busiswa, one, Gwede Mantashe, for example, is said to have received upgrades to the cost of around 650,000 rand. There are others who received bypacks and whiskey. You have to ask the question, why are some arrested and not others?
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
7:15 on the nose. This Eyewitness News traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 rand. There are delays on the N12 East. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. About a 30-minute hold-up between Klipspruit Valley Road and the Golden Highway exit. If you know exactly what's happening along this route, please send us an X at EWN Traffic. While traveling on the Mark 1 North, we've got bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is now due to peak time delays at this time of the morning between Boyson's Road and Car Street. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North due to roadworks taking place along the route right near the Baklu interchange. Delays from Vincent Chabalala Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 88. You accidentally set your alarm for 6 p.m. instead of 6 a.m. Doubt they'll buy that. Well, fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsman, easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmanlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The big interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
16 minutes after 7, on to this now. For the last 2 weeks, South Africans have been glued to their television screens, particularly during the daytime. And no, we're not watching reality television or soap operas. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, of course, has kicked off, and it appears to be lancing a boil when it comes to our security apparatus and law enforcement. It is, of course, investigating allegations into political interference and the infiltration of our police by criminal elements and abuses by politicians. The chief evidence leader at the start of the commission was none other than Advocate Mudau, who took us through the timelines of the commission and made a commitment that what the president outlined when he announced it in terms of how long it would take, the commissioners would try to be faithful to those timelines. We can expect a report within months, was the commitment. It was then with some surprise when news emerged that, in fact, Advocate Mudau had withdrawn himself as the chief evidence leader of the commission. We've been asking for an interview, and he's agreed to come into the studio to tell us why. A very good morning and welcome back to our program.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning to your listeners.
I suppose, firstly, how significant is this commission in terms of really unveiling all that has gone wrong with our law enforcement and our security apparatus in South Africa?
The commission is very important, and the role that it has been assigned to perform is quite important, because you can imagine the significance of the rule of law and how it impacts the various departments, how it impacts the criminal justice itself. It is one that necessitates that it be taken seriously.
Have you been surprised by the level of public interest? I mean, I think we had the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, and whilst people, I think, were interested and engaged with those proceedings, I don't remember quite the level of interest that we have seen as much as we've seen in this one.
In fact, I would say this commission is bigger than the State Capture Commission, because if you look at what the State Capture Commission was looking into, it was looking into SOCs. This, in terms of the mandate and scope, is much broader because it cuts across different areas of the criminal justice system. And if you recall, during my opening statement, I outlined the 3 pillars and how each of those pillars, for example, the police, you look at the judiciary and the NPA and correctional services, how those are pivotal and central to a proper working and functioning society. If that is under threat, you'll understand the level of public interest will be heightened to know whether are we in a safe country, are things happening the right way, if there has been any infiltration, where and how.
How important was it then for you when you were appointed as the chief evidence leader for such a seminal moment in South Africa?
I must give thanks to Justice Madlanga for having appointed me to perform that role. And I understood its seriousness, and it is one that I intended to see through to completion.
But what went wrong?
Unfortunately, things didn't go according to plan. And by this I mean there were things that were quite unforeseen on my part that made it impossible for me to add value to the commission. And perhaps just to give one example, Bongani, to be able to perform a task of this nature, once government says they have given you a budget of 147 million, it's not a lot of money for a task such as this one. And let me explain what I mean by that. You have different working lines or working streams, such as, for example, the procurement of IT services. You have investigators, you have researchers, you have attorneys, you have evidence leaders, you have commissioners themselves. So once you have that budget, there needs to be an indication to say what are the line items, what are the line item allocations for the budget, and why is that important? Go back to the Zondo Commission. The Zondo Commission, one of the misgivings that people have about it, rightly or wrongly, people say that commission spent over R1 billion.
The cost escalation.
One, but two, towards the end, people worked for the last 2 months without getting paid. So with those lessons coming into this, you want to avoid that.
Were you worried that you wouldn't be appropriately remunerated?
No, not at all. And maybe let me explain again. Bongani, this taking up such a task is an act of service. I mean, I have no doubt other evidence leaders took a huge pay cut. But speaking for myself, I took a huge one. But I was conscious of the fact that this is a different task. I call these matters love for country matters, where it's not about remuneration. It's about contributing and bringing your expertise on board to assist the country in finding solutions.
Much of the speculation since you made your decision public has been about internal cracks within the setup of the commission. What you are positing here sounds more like administrative issues. Surely those are not insurmountable, again, in the context of how pivotal this commission is for this democracy.
Bongani, when you come on board, you come to contribute to your expertise, your knowledge in the process. And let me give you...
Did you feel undermined? I mean, just out with it. You're a good lawyer.
Let me.
You know how this goes.
No, I'm
Were you
quite
undermined? Did you feel undermined? Did you feel that your expertise, your voice, wasn't being heard?
Bongani, let me put it in its context in terms of the issue that I'm raising about the importance of a budget. The importance of a budget impacts how you allocate tasks, who you allocate tasks to. And just a practical example, to avoid running out of budget when you know what has happened in previous commissions, if you know how much is allocated, for example, to the evidence leaders, then it determines whether when the first consultations with witnesses occur, are those done by junior counsel within the team who will produce first draft statements and then senior counsel only get involved later, or you consult with witnesses, i.e. being silks and juniors at the same time. So,
whilst we're having this conversation in terms of your experience, it obviously has wider implications about how the work of this commission will unfold. If you then, having relinquished such an important position, such a key role, because of those misgivings, it surely then suggests that those won't go away just because you have.
Perhaps other people look at it differently. You know, perhaps other people are able to do the function without the information that was needed. And
So-
I suppose that's why people are continuing.
Will we meet those timelines you outlined in that opening statement that the president promised the nation?
Well, on account of my departure, there won't be any disruption. And
Based on what you know and your concerns, how confident are you that those timelines, in the context of what you've just told me, where there's not much clarity about who gets what and how these processes, the T's and C's, will work? Will it do its work in time?
I hope so. I hope so.
Do you think so? Do you think it will?
I have confidence in those that are left at the commission. I do not want to create an impression that I'm casting any aspersions on the commission. That's not what I want. My purpose, Bongani, is to explain things that haven't come out yet. For example, the timing of when I decided to leave the commission, which up to this stage, it is assumed that it was a decision that was taken as a sudden decision during the course of evidence being given, and it's not correct. I took the decision to withdraw from the commission on the 11th of September, which I communicated to the chair, and the reasons after toing and froing.
Was that accepted, or
Yeah.
there was some toing and froing?
There was, but it was accepted on that day.
Look, I don't want to make this about you as an individual.
Yes.
You are raising concerns about how other commissions have perhaps had weaknesses and challenges because of procedural issues. You are leaving because you aren't confident that those won't happen here again. And that leads me to assume we will be back there once more. And can we afford to do so for such a critical inquiry?
Well, I'm assuming that my departure will show how serious these issues are.
Let's talk about what you've heard so far, if you can.
Yes.
We all know there are problems with the police. No one needs to be reminded about crime in South Africa, or at times incompetence and inefficiency from law enforcement. I mean, I know there are many men and women who do a fantastic job, who are committed and patriotic citizens. But to hear the connections and the tentacles and how all of these things are interlinked has been a shock to many South Africans. Was it to you?
Yes, it was. But keeping an open mind that, as I said in my opening statement, it's not about what is said. It's about what can be proven. And it's very early days, bearing in mind that there are more witnesses who are supposed to come and corroborate.
Or offer an alternative view.
Correct.
And many haven't been, or none have been under cross-examination so
Just
far.
yet. So
Right?
that's why I say it's early days. But what we've had so far is very concerning.
One of the weaknesses that many people will say they identified with the State Capture Commission was exactly what you were saying. A lot was said, a lot of mud was thrown, but there was often very little substantive information. There was no smoking gun. Can commissions of inquiry like this provide those?
Well, let me say two things. One, when allegations of this nature are made, it would be irresponsible to not set up a process to look into them. So I think setting up the Commission of Inquiry was correct. The second thing is the importance of a Commission of Inquiry is that allegations will either be proven or disproven, so that there is clarity and confidence is restored in the criminal justice system, whichever way that this thing goes. So it's not about, in my view, whether a commission is a waste of time or not. I think it is proper to interrogate and investigate such allegations, because otherwise the confidence remains undermined and it remains eroded.
How do you respond to the fact that, in fact, by airing all of this information, the public confidence is eroded because it doesn't always get followed up with prosecutions? We have not seen in almost all the commissions we've had, and I'll take you back to the arms deal, we haven't seen very many people who are said to be culpable in orange overalls as a result.
Well, I can give you one example where I was involved, where there have been.
I said we haven't seen very many examples.
I understand.
Many of these people that are accused live their best lives once the commission has submitted its reports, until the next one, and then the next one.
I haven't been involved in many, and I can't explain or give an account for why has there been no follow through. I don't know about the quality of the evidence that came out there, and what, if anything, was the reaction of the NPA in terms of its ability to prosecute based on the material that came out of those processes.
Can the NPA do a good job with what's coming out of here?
I am hoping so. If what has come out so far is going to be supported by evidence.
But it's part of this. But it's part of the same thing, because we've heard the National Director of Public Prosecutions speak about how compromised the NPA is, and so it's part of the same thing. These institutions were hollowed out precisely such that if some evidence comes up, there won't be the capacity to see it through.
Well, can I say, I mean, I came into the process and accepted the role because of my involvement in other investigative work, which has led into prosecutions and convictions. So I took with me that confidence into the process, and I still remain positive that the commission will do its job, and if the evidence is backed up, given also the heightened public interest, there's no room and scope for the NPA to drop the ball.
I think that will be the hope of many a South African. Advocate Mudau, appreciate you coming in to explain. All the best going forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
EWN Business.
All right, on to business news now. Ray White, major poultry producer, to appear before the Competition Commission.
That's right, Bongani. Well, major poultry producers will have to defend their business practices as the Competition Commission convenes later on this year. Business Day reporting that they are facing an antitrust inquiry, with the sector raking in more than 70 billion in sales annually. The four are identified as Astral, RCL, Country Bird and Sovereign, the country's four largest chicken producers. It's been claimed that the domestic industry appears to be dominated by a few large and vertically integrated companies. Added to this, market structures may pose rather significant barriers to independent entry at scale, they say, and could potentially encourage conduct that reinforces these barriers. The inquiry will look at stock and pricing and start before the end of the year.
Donald Trump icing Democratic states.
Oh, not happy there. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has frozen $26 billion for Democratic-leaning states, following through on a threat to use the government shutdown to target their opponents in the Senate. The targeted program includes $18 billion for transit projects in New York and $8 billion for green energy projects in 16 Democrat-run states, including California and Illinois. Then Vice President J.D. Vance has now warned that the administration may extend its purge of federal workers if the shutdown lasts more than a few days.
Where's the rand?
At the moment, it is 17.21 to the dollar, pound 23.18, a euro 20.26 platinum. $1,572.80. Gold, $3,861.80. Brent crude oil, $66.22 a barrel. More business news for you in an hour.
Right, time now for Eyewitness News, brought to you by Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices. Good morning, Swiso Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Advocate Mudau has explained some of his reasons for stepping aside as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Mudau led the evidence of National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula last week. The commission has appointed Advocate Matthew Charkelson as its chief evidence leader. President Cyril Ramaphosa established the inquiry after KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi revealed information about alleged infiltration in the police service by senior officers and external forces. Mudau outlined on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning that he stepped aside because of largely administrative issues.
Bongani, to be able to perform a task of this nature, once government says they have given you a budget of 147 million, it's not a lot of money for a task. You have different working lines or working streams. So once you have that budget, there needs to be an indication to say what are the line items. Go back to the Zondo Commission. The Zondo Commission, one of the misgivings that people have about it, that commission spent over R1 billion. One, but two, towards the end, people worked for the last 2 months without getting paid. So with those lessons coming into this, you want to avoid that.
Gauteng police have launched a manhunt for people behind the murder of a man who was shot multiple times at Millpark Hospital. Officers say the 45-year-old was attacked in the parking area last night after allegedly visiting a friend at the facility. Police spokesperson Dintswalo Sibeko says the motive behind the shooting is unknown.
The South African Police Service has opened a case of murder after a 45-year-old man was fatally shot multiple times at the parking area of Millpark Hospital. The police are currently investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting. No arrests have been made yet and investigation is underway.
The Departments of Education and Labour have announced a delay in the payment of September stipends for some education assistants. This delay has affected those employed at schools that are not directly funded through National Treasury allocations. The department says there are challenges with verification and submission of required documents from the schools to the funder. Tanduluhle Ngobo reports.
Both the Basic Education, Employment and Labour departments have clarified that the payment delays does not impact assistants whose schools are funded directly by the National Treasury. The departments say urgent measures are being taken to resolve the documentation issues and affected assistants can expect their payments in due course. District and provincial teams have been deployed to assist with specific queries, and the departments reaffirmed their commitment to ensuring all assistants are paid without further delay. Tanduluhle Ngobo, Eyewitness News.
Breast cancer experts are encouraging young women to pay closer attention to their family's medical history. This comes as the country observes Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Breast Imaging Society of South Africa says breast cancer affects 1 in 27 women across all ages in South Africa, with 20% of breast cancer cases in the country occurring in women under the age of 40. The organization's chair, Dr. Peter Shube, says women should consult their doctors to discuss possible risk factors.
And breast cancer in your 30s and 20s is quite uncommon, but unfortunately it does happen. The vast majority of women who get a breast cancer don't have any particular risk factors, but if you do have a risk factor, it means that you have a higher chance of getting breast cancer.
And 2 people have died following violent protests in Morocco. Officers opened fire at protesters who were attempting to storm a police station yesterday. Anti-government demonstrations filled the streets for a 5th night as protests over the state of public services once again descended into violence and destruction. A judicial investigation into the incident has been opened. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 12 and 14 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident along the M2 West. It happened near the Crown interchange. It's causing heavy traffic volumes from Heidelberg Road while travelling on the N14 Eastern Centurion. Another accident scene reported. This one is right near the R55, or rather Brakfontein interchange. It's causing delays.
The top story, Advocate Mudau has explained some of his reasons for stepping aside as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
For mind-blowing bathroom specials, come to Bathroom Bazaar. Shower yourself with a little love with the Bathroom Bazaar shower promotion and get 15% off all shower enclosures. That's right, 15% off all shower doors and screens while stocks last. That's Pizarre. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices.
All cars are designed to move. A Mazda is crafted to move you. Every line, every detail, form in motion, beauty with purpose. So that when you drive, you connect. Car and driver become one. One rhythm. Builds, holds, breaks free. The feeling will find you. Mazda. Wonder awaits.
Dis-Chem has the best deals just for you, with everything you need on your healthy living journey. Get 20% off the A. Vogel Molkesan range for a healthy digestive system. Buy any 3 Slow Mag products and get the cheapest free for relief from muscle cramps, fatigue and stress. And get 2+1 cheapest free on any Turbovite supplements to boost physical and mental performance. Offers valid until 19 October at Dis-Chem, your healthy living destination. Better health starts here.
For the first time ever, the G20 summit is being hosted on African soil, a global moment of solidarity, equality, and sustainability, with Africa at the center. Tune in tomorrow between 6 and 9 a.m. for the G20 Correspondence Desk on 702. It's brought to you by RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20 summit. Get all the latest news, views, insights, and breakthroughs from the summit as it happens. The G20 Correspondence Desk on 702. Brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongs. Mike here in Orange Grove. After listening to your interview just now with our advocate, it even raises more questions than answers. I mean, he knew about the budget before the commission even started. He took up the task first, and then on the way, then you resigned, but you raised up issues of the budget and so forth. It really doesn't make sense at all. There is more to it than what he's trying to explain. He's really trying to explain, but the more he tries, the more he reveals that there's actually more to the story than just the budget. Just my thought.
Hey, 702, this lawyer sounds like somebody who just saw there was no gravy train. So what happened? He opted out. No money to be made. Only people that get rich in these type of things as lawyers. Gravy train, not existent. Can't be there. Not going to make any money.
Bongani. Personally, I don't think the guy is telling the truth. The guy probably... he is involved somewhere, somehow. So I don't think he's lying to us.
Morning, Bongani and the team. Hope you are well. I'm good. Nice show as always. Bongani, Mudau, it's in it for money, man. He's just dodging the questions. He doesn't give you straight questions. He's very dodgy. His answers are very dodgy. He's in there for money. For money. That's why he decided to leave. Money. Boss, money.
Hi, Bongani. Maybe you should have asked him whether if he left because of potential conflict. I think there's something that he's not telling us. There may have been actually a potential conflict because as this thing goes on and on, it has actually become broader. So it could be a conflict, clients and the people that they may have represented in the past. I think that question is critical.
I don't know. I think perhaps we need to take a step back and remember how these commissions work, which he tried to allude to. Before you lead evidence, you would have met with the witness, right? So if Amo is on the stand and if I'm the evidence leader, either myself or somebody within my organization, my firm, a junior counsel, would have taken her through what it is she wants to say, right? And so a statement is prepared. Those interviews are done in advance. The evidence leader isn't seeing Mkhwanazi the first day of the hearings. They're not meeting each other for the first time. Mkhwanazi doesn't prepare that statement himself. So you want to make sure that by the time you are sitting down for a hearing, what the witness has to say has direction, is specific. You're guiding them through what it is they are prepared to talk about. And so the questions of budget matter, because based on whatever monies your firm might be allocated, you can then make decisions. Do I send someone junior or do I send someone senior? And I don't know if it's fair to say it's about money, because if anything, actually, if somebody takes a pay cut and is seen as part of an inquiry like this, their profile is raised significantly. Maybe the money won't come from this process, but if money was the motivation, I would imagine that's all the more reason he might stay, because his profile would be significantly increased. So I'm not quite sure I buy that one. I remain concerned because he's a lawyer. Of course, he's going to say much without saying a lot, right? But I think if you read between the lines, without casting aspersions on the inquiry, nor its chair or the commissioners, but I think if you read between the lines, he's saying, red flag, red flag, red flag. There are some issues here. We've seen this movie before, and I won't be a part of it. I think that's a concern.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand for the question. SMS out to 45142 to save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask for 500 Rand from Outsurance. Tumelo, today is your turn to give us the answer.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Uncle Bongs and the team. Today's answer is 91.
91, says Tumelo in Mahikeng. Am I correct?
Yes, Uncle Bongs.
All right. Tumelo, I'm told you've got a quote from Outsurance.
Oh, yes, Uncle Bongs.
Your biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. All right, Tumelo says the answer is 91. Pray tell, what's the question?
EWN Sport.
All right, this EWN Sport is brought to you by the all-new Hilux Legend 55. For 55 years, the Hilux has been conquering South Africa's toughest terrain, and now there's a new legend in the family. Anthony Teixeira, Barcelona, the mighty Barcelona. How mighty are they still?
Well, this morning they began to be feeling very small, to be honest with you, Bongani, as they were left red-faced as they gave up a goal lead to lose 2-1 to defending UEFA Champions League holders PSG. The Spanish Giants took the lead early through Ferran Torres, but failed to create much thereafter, with coach Hansi Flick saying his players looked fatigued and the benches really became a classing gap.
The philosophy they had is fantastic. They have young players. They changed them and they came in and they have a high quality speed with the ball. Very, very good. You couldn't see that they increased the level of the team. But for me, we have a lot of matches the last weeks. So we have to learn about this. We have to work on that.
In other selected results, Arsenal beat Greek side Olympiacos 2-0. Man City were held to a draw at Monaco. Napoli saw off Sporting 2-1. Borussia Dortmund shared the goals among themselves as they beat Atletico Bilbao, and Anthony Gordon's brace of penalties helped Newcastle win 4-0 against Union Saint-Gilloise. Back home, Kaizer Chiefs controlled proceedings in their 1-1 draw against Amazulu in the Betway Premiership. They gave themselves double the possession as well as passes of their opponents, 20 more shots at goal as well, and yet they couldn't break the deadlock. Assistant coach Khalil Ben Yusuf says there wasn't much more that they could have done to collect all 3 points.
For the players, they show strong character, strong mindset. You know, it's not easy. You create a lot of chance. You concede goal when you are in the best moment. Then you get penalty. You lose this penalty. You miss this penalty. But you keep dominate the game. You keep creating chance. It's a bad day for us. We was unlucky to score. Only we have to continue to work and to correct our mistake in the last third.
And in cricket, the Australian women began their World Cup title defence with a comprehensive 89-run win over New Zealand. Today, Bangladesh face Pakistan. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
It's not just a bucky. It's the new Hilux Legend 55. So it's not just another launch. It's a legacy continued. It's not just an updated exterior, but sleek design with styling bar and roller shutter. It's not just Legend 55 badge. It's a legendary badge of honor. And you're not just a driver, but part of our community, our legacy, our legends. It's not a buggy. It's the new Hilux Legend 55.
Gardeners, it's time to save big with the Stodels Flash Sale. This week, only at Stodels Garden Centres. Get 30% off all plants and 50% off all pots. See how expensive plants and pots are. This is such a great deal. Visit Stodels Garden Centres in Bryanston, Ferndale or Menlo Park today. Pop in and experience the happiness for yourself. Stodels is ready to greet you with lots of free smiles. Stodels, create happiness.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for only 150 Rand per kilo. And Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar soft drink, 2 litres, 2 for 45 Rand. Save 11 Rand. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
EWN Traffic.
10 to 8, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. There are delays in the capital. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. As we speak, Roger Dyson Road has been closed off to traffic. This is between Dullops Road and the N14. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid it. And that's the reason why we're seeing several routes within this area heavily backed up, is due to that road closure in Pretoria. If you're traveling on the N14 East, we've got an accident right near the Braakfontein interchange, causing delays coming out of the R55. There's also queuing traffic along the N1 South approaching Botha Avenue, coming out of the Flying Saucer interchange. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Great entrance? Forget that. Make a grand entrance. Grand! Be late, make everyone wait, and be grateful they did. Peeps be rubbernecking, staring gormlessly like deer in your 50,000 intelligent LED headlights. Grand! Make a grand entrance in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Achtung, baby. Grand! It's even got massage seats. Grand! Visit opel.co.za for more.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me, what's the question? If the answer is 91, let's go to Tulisile. Tulisile, what's the question?
Morning, Bongani. The question is, how old was Jane Goodall, an English zoologist and primatologist, who actually found out that chimpanzees forgive better than humans when she died yesterday?
You've covered all the bases. I'm glad to hear you pay quite a lot of attention to Lucida. You listened very pointedly there. That is absolutely the question. Jane Goodall, of course, the primatologist who died yesterday at the age of 91, did amazing work with Africa's apes and demonstrates that there's a lot for humanity to learn from our primate cousins.
You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
I'm Delani, PG Glass Technician. Is that a chip? With our advanced tools and high-tech equipment, we can repair it.
World-class repair technology, only at PG Glass. Visit pg.co.za.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong! We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bele.
Tell me about the best cookies in London.
Yeah, this is quite a sweet video. So Jose Mourinho made a return to Chelsea. Chelsea played Benfica on Tuesday night in the Champions League. They lost, by the way. Sorry, Chelsea fans. And at the press conference, there was a man by the name of Brian Pullman who worked for Chelsea for 55 years and was obviously there when Mourinho was a manager at Chelsea. And the tradition that they formed was that at every press conference, Brian would serve Mourinho these custard creams. And he made a return and put these custard creams on the table, and Mourinho got up and went and, helped himself to one and one after the other, and then gave him a hug and said, the best cookies in London. So very, very sweet moment there between two men, and obviously the tradition that they had formed. I don't know what's special about these custard creams, because I think you can get them anyway. But anyway, maybe it's just the fact that it was a tradition that was formed between the two. But I wanted to ask people. So, there's obviously dear memories with Mourinho and Chelsea and returning and all that kind of stuff. But if you've left a job and an employer and you left on good terms, right? And it wasn't because you hated the place, whatever it may be. You just went, you got a better offer, better salary, and better career opportunities. What do you miss about a former employer of yours? And do you sometimes go back for a visit? Because maybe there was, somebody that you really got on well with, whatever it may be, about a former employer. Now, at 702 and Prime Media, often people who've left will come back and have a visit and see how things are going, etc., etc. So I'd love to hear that this morning from our 702 family about former employers and things you miss from that environment.
What do you miss about your former employer? I suppose also the friendships that you develop over time. I think one of the things we don't take enough note of as adults is that we think to be friends, we need to get along, we need to like the same things, and all of those things are true. But sometimes friendship comes purely out of proximity. We're in the same space, we see each other all the time, and when that proximity is taken away, you miss the person, you wish them well, but the thing that brought you together has been taken away, but hopefully the connection remains. So sometimes I think that's what you miss. You just miss the people you used to see every single day. All right, what's in a name?
What's in a name indeed? So Denzel Washington, apparently we've been pronouncing his name wrong for a very, very long time. So he was on a Jimmy Kimmel show a while back, and he spoke about his name, and the conversation started about how many people started naming their children Denzel, when he got on the scene and started doing well as an actor. So listen to this clip of how he explains about how his name changed and the pronunciation of his changed and who changed it.
My name's pronounced Denzel. Oh. I'm Denzel Jr.
However, the 70-year-old doesn't blame fans for the mix-up, instead explaining that it was his mother that actually started calling him Denzel.
My father's Denzel Hayes Washington Sr. I'm Denzel Hayes Washington Jr. My mother would say, Denzel, and we both show up. So she said, from now on, you're Denzel.
Well,
that's how it got pronounced Denzel.
Oh, that's smart.
He said, you're Denzel. You're Denzel and you're Denzel.
So his name is actually Denzel.
I love that. So, yeah, I mean, I only saw that or realized that when I saw that clip, to be honest. So I wanted to ask a question this morning, right? So if you have been named after your father or a grandfather who is still alive, and maybe at the place of work, you are maybe not the only Karabo. There could be many Karabos who work in close proximity to you. And when you say Karabo, all three of you may look and, think, okay, well, who are you calling? So how do then people refer to you at the office? Have they maybe called you Karabo K or Karabo B or whatever it may be, given you a different nickname as to not confuse
you with another
so many
colleague.
names? And also at home. Yeah, exactly. You and another colleague, or even at home, if you are named after somebody, like we've just heard with Denzel's mother and father.
Denzel or Denzel? Are you named after someone in your family? And how do they not confuse the names? Or does a colleague share a name with you? And who are you called then instead? That's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
702.
702.
Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
You're the only Baphelile I know.
Thank you so much.
So that takes care of that, right?
I know a Baphelile.
Yes.
Yeah. I also know a Baphelile. Apparently, I'm not even pronouncing my name right.
Yes, you heard me say this to you.
Yes.
Baphelile.
Thank you so much. Just like that, Bongani. Interesting feedback today, this morning, especially on our handwriting and medical doctors. 702 lenders say that their handwriting is poor only because they rarely use a pen. So when they have to write something, it's like they're starting from scratch. And we had a doctor on WhatsApp saying that some of his colleagues is because they don't know how to pronounce and spell some of these pharmacological terms. So I also had to write it down.
So they scribble because they can't remember how to spell.
Yeah.
Wow, and the pharmacy people will. It must be that.
It must be that. Also, they're saying maybe because they're also tired from the whole day, giving prescriptions. So it's so easier to just write in the pharmacy.
Look, I understand that perhaps in a hospital environment, but if I'm going to your rooms, please can I have a decently written script? Thank you very much. How good is your handwriting? How bad is it? That's one of the conversations we had. And of course, your reaction to that interview with Advocate Mudau. Coming up, a chance for you to win up to 5,000 Rand with Stellantis on 702. So send us a WhatsApp voice note. Tell us, does your car have a name? Is it Susie? Is it Pinky? Is it Noroi? And tell us the story behind it. Then give us your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. We could be calling you back to win on this Name Your Car Day. T's and C's and more on primemediaplus.com. You want 5,000 Rand? Do that now.
This is EWN.
Terry Mudau explains why he's left the Madlanga Commission, and a 4-year-old child's testimony sends a rapist to jail. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Advocate Terry Mudau says he stepped aside as evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission largely due to certain administrative issues. Mudau exited from his role 2 weeks after the commission investigating alleged police corruption kicked off in Pretoria. He has now been replaced by Matthew Chuckleson as evidence leader with experience at both the Marikana Commission of Inquiry and the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. Mudau says past commission experiences, including the Zondo Commission, which he revealed that despite its cost escalation, people worked for 2 months without remuneration. He's told 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning that he didn't step aside because of money issues.
Were you worried that you wouldn't be appropriately remunerated?
No, not at all. And maybe let me explain again. Taking up such a task is an act of service. I mean, I have no doubt other evidence leaders took a huge pay cut. But speaking for myself, I took a huge one. But I was conscious of the fact that this is a different task. I call these matters love for country matters, where it's not about remuneration.
The family of South African ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, says his remains will be repatriated once all formal processes have been completed. Tetwa died in Paris and his body was found at a hotel this week after checking into a room on the 22nd floor. French authorities are investigating the circumstances surrounding his death. Tandolute Ngobo reports.
Natim Tetwa's family says they have taken solace in the unity and compassion shown by South Africans as they were
wait for more clarity into his death. They say French authorities have been transparent and unwavering in their ongoing investigations. Yesterday, Chairperson of Parliament's International Relations Committee, Supro Mahumapelo, said Mthethwa's death must be properly investigated to avoid speculation about how he died. Meanwhile, ANC leaders in KwaZulu-Natal are today expected to visit Mthethwa's family in the province. Thando Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
The NPA has lauded prosecutors after a landmark testimony of a 4-year-old girl led to the conviction and sentencing of a rapist. The child is the youngest victim to give a successful testimony in a rape case in South Africa's history. And as a result, 55-year-old Ian Hoggins was handed a life sentence in George last week. Carlo Peterson has the story.
NPA spokesperson Eric Ntabazalila says the 4-year-old victim testified for 4 consecutive days in Thembalethu Regional Court.
This necessitated a lot of patience and King Solomon's wisdom on the part of Advocate Mudau as the victim grew tired and had a short attention span.
Ntabazalila says prosecutors used dolls for the little girl to show the court what happened to her.
Advocate Mudau had to request the court to take breaks to ensure that the victim did not lose focus and was able to respond during her testimony and the rigorous cross-examination that followed.
Convicted rapist Ian Hoggins was sentenced to life imprisonment for rape, 5 years for sexual assault, and 8 years for illegal possession of child pornographic images. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And some analysts are of the view that the Gaza peace plan presented by US President Donald Trump lacks fundamental details and leaves the global community with more questions than answers. Trump announced the 20-point plan this week, which would ensure peace in Gaza, where more than 65,000 people have been killed in Israeli attacks. Palestinian group Hamas, which is still reviewing the plan, sparked the war on October 7th in 2023, killing more than 1,200 people and taking about 250 others hostage. Part of the plan includes a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Hamas is expected to release captives and have no role in running the region. International relations analyst Professor Yossi Meckelberg says the process will also require commitment from international governments.
What can be achieved in the meantime is ending the war, reducing the tension, and try to build on the post-war reconstruction of Gaza. And then, of course, only if the international community will say absolutely committed to a peace process.
Gold is trading at $3,863.52 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.81 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South between the Brakfontein interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baku interchange.
And in your sport, Eben Etzebeth downplays support Springboks usually receive at Twickenham ahead of the Rugby Championship clash against Argentina. Crystal Palace begin European adventure in the Europa League opener, and Women's World Cup match for the Daisies. Bangladesh meets in Pakistan.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Advocate Mudau says he stepped aside as evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission largely due to certain administrative issues.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock. I'm chuckling at some of the comments that are coming through the YouTube feed. Really? Image clearly is something that matters for a lot of people. Ray, how important is your image to you?
It's important. Of course it's important.
I mean, as in your appearance.
Okay, that's a bit different, but normally
that
it is.
image.
No, I mean, I'm not going to walk around with whatever on. I really am not. I am me. You don't like me? Well, that's just too bad.
Amo?
It's very important. I have to look a certain way for a certain thing. So if it is that I'm coming to work, I look a certain way. If it is that I'm going to church, I have to show up in a way that is good enough for church. If I'm going to a party, the same.
So, for anybody who doesn't have YouTube or Instagram, I've showed up this morning looking like I spent some time with Mike Tyson, and I'm not the chap who won. I'm the other guy. You know when they say you should see the other guy. I've got an allergy, I think, an allergic reaction. So my top lip is swollen 10 times its normal size, it feels to me. But I'm here, I'm working. And I'm amazed at the number of people for whom appearance is everything, who say they would not have opened their curtains, never mind step out of the door.
It's
Really?
radio. Come on, guys.
Really?
Come on.
We spoke to Advocate Mudau, stepping down as the evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission. He said a lot without saying much, didn't he? He's a lawyer, but he said enough. He said enough between the lines. The issues around administration, around budgets, around who gets assigned what cases. He spoke about the management of the commission. So it's not about what you will hear, because I think a lot of us tend to focus on what is recorded on cameras. But there's a whole lot that happens behind the scenes, significantly, by the way, before the commission is ready to sit for those hearings. And he's raising concerns that I think we will come back to look at. I mean, if he's proved wrong and things proceed smoothly, fantastic. But I think if things delay and escalate and it feels as if administratively there are challenges, we may look back on this moment and say, oh, that's what he was talking about.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Are you named after someone in your family? And how does everybody distinguish you from that person? Or maybe there's a colleague who shares a name with you. How do your colleagues and people around you distinguish you from the other person, from the other colleague? Amo, you've got a story?
I do. In the newsroom, we've got two Tandos. They are Tando in that the people are shortening their names because their full names are Tando Luhle and Nolu Tando. So I call the one Nolu and the other Luhle to avoid confusion. And then I just remembered also we have two Khomuzos. We have KG and Khomuzo. The one is called Khomuzo and the other is KG. Also helps to avoid that confusion.
My book club has two Bonganis.
Mm-hmm.
And although, of course, many people call me Bongles, I refuse to surrender my name. So when they say Bongani, I also say yes.
Oh my goodness. You never cease to amaze me.
This is why my face is puffy and I have swollen lips.
Yeah.
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011-883-0702.
One of the stories, of course, we're paying some attention to is the guilty verdict yesterday in that firearm case against the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema. He says, of course, he is going to fight that matter. It was at the East London Magistrates Court yesterday where Malema was found guilty of breaching some gun laws. His former bodyguard, Adrian Snyman, was let off the hook. Malema, of course, perhaps predictably says it's because of race. The white man gets off, he did not. We've invited an international law enforcement expert to talk to us about the use of guns, particularly in public spaces, and what kind of sanction or punishment you might face if you fall foul of those laws. Lobodas Neves, very good morning to you. It's been a moment, my friend. We first got to know each other at the Oscar Pistorius trial so many years ago, and you are our expert on weapons then, and I must defer to you now again.
That's my pleasure. Good morning.
So I don't know how closely you followed the Julius Malema matter, but even if you don't know the details of that particular case, we just thought it's important to ask what people are allowed to do or not to do when it comes to how they handle weapons in public. The court yesterday being very clear that you cannot discharge a firearm in a public place where, of course, people might get hurt. I think that's simple enough, right?
That's very true. I'm going to deal with your question in two parts. The first part is the onus on the court to prove guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. To make a sensible opinion on the ruling, one has to look at the merits of the case. So, if for whatever reason the state failed to prove guilt of the second accused beyond all reasonable doubt, the court has to acquit. They have to acquit the person, even if it appears that that person may be guilty. That's not strong enough for a guilty finding. So that's one side. The second side of the case is that even if there is an acquittal, the South African police still has the right to hold a tribunal to establish whether the second accused is in fact competent to own firearms. And they may call him to a hearing and determine that. And if the person fails to convince the chairperson of that hearing that he is competent, they may declare him incompetent to possess a firearm for a certain period of time or permanently. So that's still something that will happen. I think it's highly unlikely that an irresponsible firearm owner, such as the second accused, will be deemed competent to own a firearm after such a hearing.
All right, so just to be clear, for anyone missing the point, because one of the questions that has arisen is, hang on, how do I get found guilty if I'm Julius Malema for discharging this weapon if the person who gave me the weapon to discharge is then acquitted?
Yes. No, that is, well, there's video evidence. There's compelling video evidence that shows him discharging the firearm. There was no compelling evidence in video footage that I'm aware of the firearm owner passing the firearm to Julius or giving him instructional permission to fire it. So it's a very difficult thing for a prosecutor or a police officer to prove in a court that permission was or was not given to fire the firearm.
So although we know whose weapon it was, the state did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that he then gave permission or even an instruction for Malema to discharge.
Correct. It's like if I'm asleep in my bed and somehow a person who's visiting my home gets hold of my firearm and discharges around into himself or into a piece of furniture, no court can convict me for the unlawful discharge of that firearm, because I was asleep at the time that the firearm was taken. There may be questions over whether I am competent, whether I had control over my firearm at all times, which is dictated in the law. But whether I will be convicted of the main charge remains doubtful.
I think you've explained it in a way that we can all understand. Lobodas Neves, appreciate your time, international law enforcement expert. So those were the two pillars of this case. One is Malema was accused of discharging the firearm, but his bodyguard was accused of handing it over or giving him permission to discharge it. And that was a lot trickier to prove than it was the fact that he fired it.
Good morning, Bongs. I think a lot of people are just so desperate to see Julius going to jail. But let's be honest, he's not going to go to jail. They'll probably give him a fine. But the thing is, the other guy is just as equally as guilty as Julius is, because you cannot hand over your gun to somebody else. And in terms of the bail issue, I mean, he was never really arrested. He was charged, yes, but never arrested. Why must he be kept in custody? It's required by law that somebody can get bail, and he got bail. But I doubt that he'll go to jail.
Well, it remains to be seen. He's going to fight it all the way to the Constitutional Court, he said. But I think our expert there just explained why it might be he is guilty and the gun owner not.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Morning, Bongani and the 702 team. I don't believe a word this advocate was saying on the reasons why he's quit or why he's left. No, something else must have happened, but yeah. something ain't right here. Great show. Thanks.
Good morning, Bongani. Thank you for the interview. This is one of the reasons I love 702. And being a listener, I can make clear decisions for myself and getting information from the horse's mouth. It really is such a interesting insight so that we can separate issues with the issues at hand. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. I mean, that's what we try to do. We may have different views, you and I, but I love the fact that you can make up your own mind based on what you hear the people and the guests we invite saying on the show. That's the whole point. That's fantastic.
EWN Traffic.
All right, 19 after 8, this Eyewitness News traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Bongani, we've got delays on the N1 south between Samrand Avenue and Oliphants-Fontaine Road. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 north between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange. That's due to roadworks. While traveling towards Sunning Hill, we've got delays on the N1 north approaching Rivonia Road. This is due to a car stuck on the road. Please be on the lookout there. Delays from Malibongwe Drive. I'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent shuttling his kids, with a back seat full of chatter, laughter, lunchboxes, and lost shoes. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a regular yet special slice of a family's life. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Celebrating you and yours with your share of 20,000 Rand. This Name Your Car Day, thanks to Stellantis on 702.
So we asked you if you want to win 5,000 Rand to send us a voice note. Tell us your car's nickname, right? Maybe you're one of those people who names your car and the story behind it for a chance to win 5,000 Rand. Danielle is on the line. Danielle, a very good morning to you.
Morning.
You sent us a voice note telling us about the name of your car for a chance to win 5,000 Rand. Let's have a listen to that voice note.
Hi, it's Danielle from Pretoria. So last week we got a new car. It's a Fiat 500. So because it's Italian, my husband and I thought it would be hilarious to name the car Enzo, after Enzo Ferrari. The kids, aged 12 and 18, are absolutely horrified that we want to name a small, very, very small Italian car after a Ferrari. So I, in my head, call the car a feisty Fiat. It has also been known as Sporty Spice. But the kids are stuck on the name Gigi. So they are now trying to convince my husband and I Enzo is a no-go and the name will be Gigi. So it is yet to be determined who will win.
I love it, Danielle. I was recently in Italy. I know how small their cars can be.
Yes.
How about 5,000 Rand coming your way, all thanks to Stellantis and 702?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
Name
much.
Your Car Day.
So excited. Yes. No, we just got to decide on the name. Big fight.
I think 5,000 Rand richer, Danielle, you might have more of a say, hey?
I think so. I think we're definitely going with Enzo.
Enjoy
This
Enzo.
time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Danielle winning 5,000 Rand courtesy of 702 and Stellantis on this Name Your Car Day.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
Let's catch up now with news from the rest of the world. Adam, a very good morning to you. Let's start with the sunscreen scandal down under.
Yeah, in Australia, which might feel a long way away, but
bear with, 21 products have now been pulled from shelves over safety concerns. It was 3 to start with from a report initially in June, now another 18, because this is about sunscreens, sometimes very popular and expensive makes, that don't do what they say they'll do on the bottle. So a skin protection factor of 50 on one, for instance, was found to have an actual SPF of 4, which is a huge difference when it comes to not burning in the sun. So 21 products now, some have been recalled, some have seen the manufacturer stop completely, others are under review or paused, temporarily suspended, whatever. It is, as they would say, a slip, slap, slop mess. But while Australia has the highest rate of skin cancers in the world, experts are pondering if there are global implications. When we shove on some sunscreen of any kind, how do we know that the SPF is what it says it is? Do we just leave it to trust? Because you can't test it at home, really, can you? So the question mark is it just Australia, or are there other countries who also have faulty products?
Now, Adam, how good is your handwriting?
Well, I like to think it's okay, but I suspect only I can read it. Maybe it's I don't know. How good is your handwriting, Bongani? When was the last time you did any handwriting, for that matter?
Right.
Well, we often joke about how bad the handwriting is of doctors and their written prescriptions, although a lot of them these days are printed, but still there are handwritten bits often, aren't there? In India, they've just had a high court ruling that doctors must produce legible medical prescriptions. This is because of a case. It was actually a rape case where a medic had to deliver an examination and their legal report, essentially. And the medic's report, as presented to the judge, Justice Puri, in the Punjab High Court, could not read it. He said it was a spidery, unreadable scrawl. There again, aren't all doctors. So the ruling is now, in India, as a result of this law of precedent, all doctors must write clearly in capital letters to avoid confusion. All 350,000 members of the Indian Medical Association, although the IMA is now looking at it and wondering how they respond, but still, there would be a way forward if we could all write clearly rather than like a spider.
Now, the William Morris Agency represented some of the most famous stars of the last century in film and television, Adam, but would they represent AI?
Question. Certainly, an AI actor is touting for business. So I suppose one should say the creators of the AI actress. She looks amazing. Tilly Norwood is this completely fake synthetic performer, but in talks about she looks young and aspiring, girl next door, that sort of actress. She has a British accent. She poses for photos. In her show reel, there's a comedy sketch. All of it totally AI generated. Although on Tilly's website, it says, excuse me, I may be AI, but I'm feeling very real emotions right now. No, she isn't. The creator is a Dutch comedian and actor, Eline van der Velden, who suggests that Tilly Norwood could become the next Scarlett Johansson, and they are looking for an acting agency to represent her. You can imagine the reaction of Emily Blunt and Natasha Lyonne and Whoopi Goldberg and any other A-list stars who are saying, she's not an actor, she's a computer program. Anyone else feel like the tail might be wagging the dog a little bit here?
I'm actually on her Instagram page as we speak, Adam. And there's a statement there, and it says, and this is from Eileen, of course, to those who've expressed anger over the creation of our AI character, Tilly Norwood, she's not a replacement for a human being, but a creative work, a piece of art. Like many forms of art before her, she sparks conversation, and that in itself shows the power of creativity. I wonder if it'll convince Hollywood.
I would suggest not, but what do I know?
And that's where we'll leave it for this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Our final business update for the morning. Ray White, Ford explaining its reasons for retrenching workers in this country.
That's right. The Ford Motor Company in South Africa says that it has no choice but to retrench workers due to lower European orders for its Ranger pickup truck. This has been driven by recent tax changes in the UK and sluggish export volumes for its plug-in hybrid Ford Ranger model. Last month, Ford Ford sent an official notice to unions notifying them of its intention to retrench 474 workers at its Silverton car manufacturing plant in Pretoria and also at Struandale, the engine plant in Gqeberha. Ford exclusively produces the plug-in hybrid Ranger for global exports, mainly Europe. It also produces the internal combustion engine Ranger for the local and export markets. Neil Hill, who's the president of Ford, the Ford Motor Company South Africa, told Reuters on the sidelines of an auto conference that the company has been forced to reduce its operations from 3 shifts to 2 following a drop in demand for these Rangers.
All right, yesterday the big story, of course, in the US at least, was the government shut down. It's a day or so later. Where are things now?
Oh, Americans are feeling the effects of the government shutdown. Already air travel has been slowed in some areas and US troops haven't been paid, so that's going to make them very angry. Reports say there is no clear path out of the impasse. Well, traders have warned that the 15th government shutdown since 1981 will halt the release of a closely watched employment report. This is key to forming policy for the US Fed, which is set to decide on rates soon. Added to this, the shutdown has led to more than 750,000 federal workers being told to go home for now without pay. How do you think they feel?
Goodness me. All right, where are your indicators?
The rand at the moment, the dollar 17.19, the pound 23.18, the euro 20.19. So the rand somewhat stronger this morning. Platinum $1,575.10. Gold is $3,873.20. Brent crude oil $65.65 a barrel. I'll have some more business news for you this afternoon.
Time now for your latest eyewitness news. Straight to the news desk we go. Sfiso Zulu. Now, they threatened a divorce, a split, but they're still together, aren't they?
Well, that's right, Bongani. That's the Patriotic Alliance and the ANC who are expected to have a follow-up meeting today to continue discussions regarding Kenny Gunene's reinstatement as Johannesburg Mayoral Committee member. But the talks will now include proposals put forward by both parties on how they can work together in other municipalities like Ekurhuleni and Tshwane. The follow-up discussions come after the Patriotic Alliance withdrew its threat that its leader Gayton McKenzie will leave the government of national unity should Gunene not be reinstated to his MMC position. Babalondenza reports.
The Patriotic Alliance says its meeting with the ANC on Tuesday was successful and dealt with issues that affect the Gauteng province and not just Kenny Gunene's reinstatement. Gunene says follow-up discussions will include how the two parties can work together in other municipalities in the province. He says these discussions will happen before the end of the week.
We will then get back to the ANC before Friday on our response to the proposals that are on the table. We are happy with the posture of the ANC.
Gunene also told supporters that the party won't be going ahead with its mass resignation of its elected officials from coalitions, including the GNU. Babalondense, Eyewitness News.
Gauteng police have launched a manhunt for people behind the murder of a man who was shot multiple times at Millpark Hospital. Officers say the 45-year-old was attacked in the parking area last night after allegedly visiting a friend at the facility. Police spokesperson Dintswalo Sibego says the motive behind the shooting is being investigated.
The South African Police Service has opened a case of murder after a 45-year-old man was fatally shot multiple times at the parking area of Millpark Hospital. The police are currently investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting. No arrests have been made yet and investigation is underway.
Western Cape Transport authorities are being advised to follow examples of other cities in other parts of the world in dealing with Cape Town's traffic congestion crisis. Cape Town traffic congestion has been ranked 9th as the worst in the world. Rapid population growth and an increase of private vehicle use have been identified as some of the contributing factors to the problem. Dutuzelo Nene takes a look.
Transport planner Ahmed Molla says there are international practices that the province and the city can learn from to alleviate the pressure on the Cape's roads. Speaking at the launch of Mobility Month in Cape Cape Town yesterday. Muller says congestion can be managed but not eliminated.
You have cities that are talking about not just public transport and implementation of good public transport networks, but they've also got like travel demand management measures about parking restrictions in CBDs, carpooling incentives, employer incentives, cities like London, Tokyo, New York as well. So these are all very congested cities, but they got really good alternatives.
Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And a judge in the US has thrown out a lawsuit by a man who accused rock band Nirvana of distributing child sex abuse images. The band has a naked four-month-old baby on their breakthrough 1991 album, Nevermind. The court tossed out the lawsuit for a second time after finding that no reasonable jury would consider the picture as pornographic. Instead, the picture would be likened to a family photo of a nude child who is in the swimming pool. Nevermind, which features the hit song Smells Like a Teen Spirit, has sold over 30 million copies. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks taking place on the N3 North right near the Baklu interchange. Delays coming out of Vincent Chabalala Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North between Malibongo Drive and Rivonia Road due to a car stuck on the road.
The top story this hour, the PA and ANC are expected to have a follow-up meeting today to continue their discussions regarding Kenny Gunene's reinstatements.
Got big dreams for your small business? The Hollywood Foundation is here to make them a reality with the Bambelela Business Awards. SMMEs in Gauteng. This is your chance to grab a share of 1 million rand in funding. The awards recognize and reward the contributions small businesses make to growing and transforming our economy. Submit your entries today. Applications close on 4 October 2025. Submissions will be reviewed by a panel of expert judges. Enter now at www.hollywoodfoundation.co.za.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongs. Mhlengwe in Bramfijaville. Regarding doctors' handwriting, I've long figured it out. They don't want you to actually see what they've written, what the script says, because you can go on self-medication and just get whatever from the pharmacy. I think I'm speaking under correction, but I think that's why. Because all of them, their writing is ineligible. Nice show as always. Thanks, Bongs.
Morning, Bongani and the team. Bongani, on the doctor's handwriting, according to my understanding, that's their code. Like, if now the doctor give you the prescription to go to, let's say, some other chemistry where you need the medication, the doctor who's there, they won't even struggle to read that. They will just read it immediately, boom, and then give you what you need. Same as like the lawyers, they've got their own code, so it's the way how they are. I mean, we can't change that.
Good morning, Mr. Bingwa and the team. My handwriting, I now write in cursive because it was really bad. Like enough, it was seen in primary school that this guy is going to have a bad handwriting, hence now only use cursive. So I understand the doctors, because you get a lot of away with a lot of things when you use cursive. And Mr. Bingwa, please check Kim Possible. You guys look alike. Thanks for a great show and a lovely interview. Have a great day to everyone.
Good morning, Bongani. This thing of handwriting, I'm not sure. Was myself the nature of my job. Actually, I do IT security, so I hardly use a pen. So when I'm given a pen to write anything, yeah, it becomes difficult. It's not something that I usually do, to be honest.
Well, Bongani, I'm a pharmacist and I can tell you doctors are just tired. Medication names are too long, they are too stretchy. Doctors are tired. They just take the easy route out. Angie in Pretoria.
Angie in Pretoria, I want to know the special skill it takes for pharmacists to be able to decipher what it is these people are writing, because even though the doctor has told you, I'm going to put you on such and such a medication, you look at that piece of paper and you just, what on earth is this all about? But somehow the pharmacists seem to know exactly how to read what those scripts say. More of your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
EWN Sport.
All right, Anthony Teixeira with the last sports bulletin for the morning. Let's talk rugby, Anthony. Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani. Yeah, the All Blacks have announced their squad for the Rugby Championship clash against the Wallabies. Scott Barrett, the captain, has recovered from injury and has returned to the starting lineup. His brother Bowden misses out through injury, though, with Damian McKenzie handed the number 10 shirt. Saturday is the closing round of the tournament, with the Springboks facing Los Pumas. Argentina opting to host their home game at Twickenham. Historically, it's been a venue where the world champs usually enjoy a lot of support when they play neutral opposition. Baklock Ibn Etzebeth says any support they receive will be enjoyed. However, a strong performance is more important.
We don't go in the week talking about how much support there will be for us or not for us. We just try to focus on the task at hand. We know what's at stake, so we're going to put it into training sessions this week, and hopefully we get a great result this weekend. And if there's a lot of South African supporters, then obviously that's a massive bonus. We just want to arrive on Saturday and play a great test match.
Kickoff is Saturday afternoon, while in football there's two English teams playing in the Europa League this evening. Aston Villa are in the Netherlands to play Feyenoord, while Nottingham Forest will host a first European game at home in close to 30 years as they take on Midtjylland. For Crystal Palace, a new chapter in the club's history begins when they play their first ever European fixture. They take on Dynamo Kiev in the Conference League. The earliest of those games kick off at 6:45. After 2 match days of the UEFA Champions League, only 6 sides have started with consecutive wins. That's Bayern, Real, holders PSG, Inter, Arsenal, and a surprise package, Azerbaijan side Karabag. While in the Betway Premiership last night, Kaizer Chiefs ended 1-1 against Amazulu. Let's move now to cricket, where the Women's World Cup fixture for the day has Bangladesh against Pakistan. Friday, the Proteas women will start their tournament with an outing against England. Their record against the English doesn't make for great reading, with only 1 win in their 9 ODIs since the 2022 World Cup semi-final loss. Chloe Tryon shared whether that record has a psychological effect on her and her teammates.
No, definitely not. The team has changed a lot over the last couple of years. We've got some young players coming in, but we've got a lot of experienced players, and I think that everyone's just taken upon their role really beautifully. I think the way that we've worked, our prep behind the scenes has been really good. So yeah, I'm not looking at too much of that stats. I think at the end of the day, we're going into a World Cup where, we're playing the best in the world. Opening game, so a lot of pressure on everyone, but just making sure that we put up our hands and playing our best cricket.
And in live action, West Indies have stumbled to 90 for 5 by day 1 lunch in the first test against India. Mohammad Siraj tearing through the top order as he's taken 3 for 19. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
19 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's catch up with the roads now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got delays on the M2 West. This is now as you approach the Crown interchange. This is between Heidelberg Road and the Crown turn off. There's also queuing traffic. In fact, bumper-to-bumper delays on the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange. While traveling in Isando, an accident has been reported. It's right on the R24 West near Barber Road. Delays from the OR Tambo interchange causing delays there. And there's also queuing traffic on the N1 South between Olifantsfontein Road and New Road. This is due to peak time delays in the Midrand area. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
At the heart of the global conversation shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
CIRA is reintroducing printed ink certificates, now available as a paid optional service. You can now request your printed certificate online and collect it at your nearest CIRA branch. This service is in response to industry requests. Remember, your digital certificate remains valid and you can view it online. For more information, please contact 086-1333-850 or info@cira.co.za.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Hey, how's it, Bongani? How's it, fam? It's Stephen here. Just listening to the conversation around porous borders, and I think this is going to be a problem for the longest time. But the issue is all economic. I mean, if you look at the countries with the highest youth unemployment in the world, outside of literally, I think, Afghanistan, you'll find they're all in Southern Africa. It's us, it's Eswatini, it's Zimbabwe, it's Botswana, it's Namibia, it's Mozambique. And the problem lies there. Everyone wants a better life. Now, you shouldn't break the law to get it. But I think if you say to someone there's a better life just on that side of that fence that you can climb over, I mean, what's going to happen? It's all economic. And that's really where we need to focus. Anyway, see you later. Cheers.
One wonders then if we shouldn't look for some kind of integrated economy, because as even our guest conceded earlier, we were talking about porous borders, just by the way, and there's now a high-level delegation meeting with Eswatini counterparts today to talk about how to secure mutual points of entry. And the point I'm making is we all khan about, oh, this country and its porous borders, people are coming in and coming out. Well, what's the solution? Has anyone actually proposed a solution that's going to work? Clearly, these flimsy fences don't work. Ask Patricia DeLille. See what I did there? They don't work. Of course, people are processed through the formal border posts, have their documentation and all of that gets stamped, blah, 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 blah. We can't even control the poachers who get into the Kruger to steal the animals. I'm not talking about people who are crossing crocodile-infested rivers to get to South Africa in search of economic opportunities. And so we are describing a problem that we have no plan to stop. And maybe one of the things we need to think about is, what is this free continental trade agreement delivering insofar as the movement of goods and people in the first instance, right? If you are Polish, you can go to any part of Germany or Portugal or Spain or Italy because the EU works as one block that is integrated. And maybe it's time we faced our realities and stop trying to solve a problem that is clearly not going to solve itself. That's my take. What's yours?
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Tabo, are you still calling me beautiful?
Yes, yes.
Have you seen me?
I'm like, I've literally just seen you, and I'm like, what's going
on?
What's going on? I hope you're good, man.
I am. I think I've just got an allergic reaction.
Okay.
But I'll sort it out.
Yeah, but a shot will sort it out, I'm sure.
So here's the question I'm asking around this porous borders.
Yes.
Every person who's trying to be an intellectual has used that phrase.
Yeah.
But how many have actually offered a solution?
None. Zero.
Right? They say, oh, we need to make sure Beitbridge is better controlled. We need to put more officers. They'll just go to another part of the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you can put troops at every few meters all around South Africa.
Yeah.
Good luck.
But also deal with socioeconomic situation that a number of people are facing. You'll never run away from your country if there are many opportunities there. And therefore, we do not want to support efforts of economic mutual growth only in the SADC region. We don't want to address those issues succinctly. So how are we going to stop people from... We won't be able to.
Because how many Namibians are in South Africa right now?
Good question. As opposed to our neighbors in the north.
How many Botswana come to South Africa?
They come to buy and leave and go back.
With
they come to Sandton, buy stuff and literally go back. They can't wait to be home. They can't wait because of the environment.
And there's your answer.
Yeah.
There's your answer. What's on the show?
A couple of things on the open line. I had Advocate Mudau on your show. I thought he could have said so much more. But lawyers being lawyers, I fully understand.
I actually think he's... I'm going to play the conversation back when
Yeah.
I'm off air. As I remember some of the touch points, I think he actually said a lot without saying it expressly.
Yeah.
I think if people who are legal experts who
Yeah.
understand how these commissions ought to work, I think there'll be some questions there that they may ask of themselves and this process.
Yeah.
You follow what I mean?
I hear you. You see, all 11 of them. But we are speaking to millions of South Africans. He missed the opportunity of being very clear. He forced us to read between the lines, and unfortunately the message was lost, as evidenced by some of your voice notes that came after that.
Here's the difficulty. He can't obviously contaminate a process he was a part of.
Yeah.
Because he was unhappy.
Agree.
I think he's got to be careful not to cast any aspersions, because it may well be that the commission finds ways to deal with his concerns. It may well be that his departure causes enough of a stir that the commission then really takes seriously some of the issues that he raised.
Agreed.
And so at the end of the process, all is fine.
But don't come to radio and force more speculation of what you're saying, because then you are putting yourself up for as a serious target of reputational damage. I mean, did you hear what people said? Gravy train and whatever else. Because public perception, Bongani, matters. And you and I know in the PR space that when you come here and speak to Bongani Bingwa, rather be prepared or don't come at all, because I think what he could have said was that, listen, budgetary issues are very important. In order for me and others to do our jobs properly, we needed to have more resources to execute and do justice to this, or else we'd be putting ourselves up for failure.
So for me, I move it beyond him.
Yeah.
And I go back to the commission and I think, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
that for me is my concern. I mean, he is an illustrator of the issue. But in the bigger scheme of things, I'm far more concerned about the commission.
Agreed.
Than the individual.
He's just an individual after all. Yeah. Anyway, Bongles, I am not moving furniture as usual. 9 to 10, we have an open line. We've been having an argument up in the office there with Sis Prim and a number of producers as to how do you take your shower or bath in the morning? Do you do you use soap and then put a shower and also then subsequently use a shower gel? Or do you just use a shower gel and that's about it? And a whole lot of people, I was outvoted, they saying you have to use both soap and a shower gel. And I'm thinking, that's not how you should take a shower.
Why do you need soap if you've got the shower gel?
Her name is Zintle, amongst others. She's out there. She'll tell us why she's been arguing against me for that. And she's saying it's standard in South Africa. When you take a shower, you must use soap and then a shower gel to soften your skin.
I'm 51 years old. This is the first time I'm hearing of
it's a national
what
question.
is meant to be standard in South Africa.
But we'll also speak about Julius Malema on the open line, that will his potential incarceration lead to the demise of the EFF and take it to the doldrums of failure forever, and a number of things obviously on the open line. But between 10 and 11, our special guest is Michael Beaumont, the chairperson of Action SA, prolific politician. We'll just shoot the breeze with him, talk about what he likes, this, that, and the other. And then between 11 and 12, the dialogue. We are just putting a state of South African politics under the limelight. We are speaking to experts, South African political analysts, about where are we going as a country, given where we are right now. Is it likely that Cyril Ramaphosa will finish the second term? And I'm doing air quotes as I say second term because we know how it all started. And that's about it. All that and more between 9 and 12.
All right, Tabashola Mashao in for Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2024 Kia Picanto, 52-year-old Janine now only pays 561 Rand a month. And for her 2025 Jatura Dashing, 29-year-old Sana pays just 796 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The all-new Audi 5 has arrived with a panoramic sunroof that changes transparency and a B&O sound system built into the headrests. Every detail makes driving feel like an art form. Visit your Audi dealership, book a test drive, and experience the Audi A5 from 14,499 Rand per month with a guaranteed future value. Visit audi.co.za for more. T's and C's apply. Brought to you by Audi Financial Services, a division of Volkswagen Financial Services South Africa Pty Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Oh man, one of those voices. Listen, if you're searching for the perfect spot for a romantic date night, a vibrant evening out with friends, or simply a night to remember, well, look no further than Busi live at Untitled Basement. It's happening this Saturday, the 4th of October. The Untitled Basement has become an iconic venue in Johannesburg and is about to go through a transformation as Busi takes to the stage for a rare and soulful performance. You may remember her for that collaboration, Superman. Busi?
Hi.
I think I love you, but that's too soon.
I think I love you too. Rest on time.
I remember that line from Superman, and it just has always stuck with me, right? So listen, Untitled Basement has become this venue, and it's just really growing in reputation. I feel like if somebody wants to do something special, this is where they go.
It's the only place to go in Johannesburg right now because the venue is nice and intimate. You know, it takes about 150 people, not more than that.
Yep.
And you are just guaranteed to experience the performer so close, up close and very personal, you know, because it's not like when you perform in a festival where you can hear the person singing, but when you look at them, they look so tiny. So there, I'm just here, and you'll be able to even hold my hand if you want to.
Listen, it's so easy to love you. See what I did there?
Yeah, I got. I'm over it.
I love your voice, and I love your artistry. What can audiences that may not be familiar with you but are looking for something special, something different? I frame this as possibly a date night show. What will they get?
Yeah. They'll look. It's a live performance, so they'll get to hear my voice as raw as it is, without because when you go to studio, I'm always telling the producers, add a bit of reverb. Oh, it sounds too raw. Now they'll get to hear my voice as raw as it is. If there's any beautiful mistakes that I'll be making them for them. There's been so many rehearsals.
I love that you use the word raw because I've always felt there was a vulnerability to your voice. There's a tenderness to your voice, hey?
Yes. And can I tell you something? I can sometimes not stand the sound of my own voice.
Johnny.
I am telling you, especially when I'm in studio and they're just playing because they're trying to fix it. I'm like, oh, can you do that without me here? So when I'm performing live, there's no time for me to be thinking, I can't do this. It's just, let me just do what I can.
So when you prepare for these live shows, I mean, what's the process like? Is it more, is it more mental? Is it even spiritual? Or is it purely about the vocals?
It's all of them. It's all of them. It's mental because when I perform live, I'm telling a story, and that's the story of my life. And it's spiritual because I'm hoping that whatever I'm saying, it can heal someone who's been through the same situation, if not going through it at that time. And then a vocal because you need to sound like your songs, how they go. You can't miss a note. you know, Guti, when the bass line goes this way, your voice needs to go that direction in order for it to have that beautiful melody. So yeah, it's all of them really.
Defining moment in your career so far?
Okay, so far I would say there's so many. There's just a lot because I've been doing this for 17 years.
Yeah.
So I can't really say one right now, but if I had to, I would just say when I performed at the MTV Music Awards and I got to share the stage with the beautiful Nigerian artists and, you know, African artists. That was defining for me because I fit right in there representing my country.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, you talk about 17 years, hey? I'm remembering that collaboration with Black Coffee, the song we're playing in the background now, Superman. What did that mean for you so early in that stage of your career?
Yeah, because I think I was 24 when I wrote Superman.
Yeah.
And that was my second song with Black Coffee because the first one was, well, not the second, actually. It was number 4. The first song that we ever did together was Turn Me On. So Superman was just really that thing. Our chemistry in studio is just
that's why it's so
undeniable.
playful, hey? That's why it's so playful.
Yeah, it is. So and what it did, you know, I mean, it became one of the biggest songs, especially overseas, more than in South Africa. And by the time it picked up in South Africa, it blew up. So, and Drake decided to take it.
Right? What did that feel like without you?
I wasn't mad. I really wasn't mad at that, especially because Georgia, what she did, she respected how the song was. She didn't change anything. She just delivered the vocals as they are. So that was a compliment for me.
I would have preferred you.
I know, because you love me.
And that's not too soon. Busi coming this weekend to you on Saturday, the 4th of October at the iconic Untitled Basement. You can get your tickets now at Quicket. There will be some available at the door, but I would buy my tickets ahead of time. It is an intimate venue, so they will obviously very quickly run out. Wish you a fantastic performance. Congratulations on all the success so far, and thank you for the music.
Thank you, Bongani.
Thank you. Singer-songwriter Busi, live at Untitled Basement this Saturday.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Look at the time. That brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Advocate Mudau says he stepped aside as evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission largely due to certain administrative issues. Mudau exited from his role 2 weeks after the commission investigating alleged police corruption kicked off in Pretoria. He has now been replaced by Matthew in his role 2 weeks after the commission investigating alleged police corruption kicked off